Hi and welcome to Ninja Monkey. I'm going to turn the music down a little bit. So first of all, for you guys that are joining this stream later on, like in the future, even though this is a stream, I think it might be very interesting for you to watch because I've got Nick, who is currently in Kyoto, and he will be able to give us lots of really interesting information about what Kyoto is like, what it's like to live in Kyoto, what it's like to be a student in Kyoto, amongst other things that we're going to be talking like Japan related. So if you're just tuning in live, then thanks for joining us. Don't forget that if there are any problems, let us know in the chat, and if anything sort of goes wrong, you can always press the refresh button, and sometimes that sort of fixes some of the issues. So with further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Nick, and Nick can tell us a little bit about himself. So this is Nick. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself whilst I check the chat and see what's going on?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. First of all, thanks for having me on the stream. Pretty exciting. My name is Nick. I am 32 years old, originally from Switzerland, live in Kyoto at the moment. I came here about 4 years ago, soon 4 years ago, initially to study Japanese, and since 2 years I've been here studying at university here. Yeah, that's like a brief introduction of me. Oh, and I used to make videos on YouTube about Japan, but I kind of stopped 3 years ago. Yeah.
He still has, it's still worth checking out some of his videos because he does go to some pretty nice onsen locations and that sort of thing. So I definitely recommend that you check it out, you know? So, I don't want to hear the volume. So, Nick, how long have you been in Japan, by the way?
Yeah, so I came here in June 2016. Yeah, so almost 4 years.
Wow, so what's the attraction? Why have you sort of stayed in Japan? What's the reason? I mean, 4 years is quite a long time.
Sure, that's true. It's quite a long time. Initially back in Switzerland, when I was still working in Switzerland, I just wanted to try something new, change up my life a little bit, learn something, and I decided to study Japanese because I had, always kind of liked Japan, had visited Japan before, had some Japanese friends. And I first came kind of like short term to go to language school in Kobe for a couple of months to see if I liked it. And then I just, really, really enjoyed it and just kind of continued studying Japanese in Tokyo for a few months. And then I moved to Kyoto, where I studied for a little over a year. And then while I was studying Japanese here, that's when I decided to go to university and just,
So actually,
that's the way it is.
You mentioned Kobe and Tokyo.
That's right.
So what were those places like, really? Like compared to Kyoto, where you currently are? And
sure.
I promise you, he is in Kyoto.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I mean, I think Kobe is a really cool city. I really enjoyed my time in Kobe. I was there for just 2 months, but Kobe is beautiful. It's it's located between the ocean and the mountains, and I think it's also just the right size. It's not too big. But while I was studying in Kobe, I had already applied for a visa, for a student visa to study for more long term, and that school was in Tokyo. So I went there for that, officially my student visa. Before in Kobe, I was on the tourist visa. And then when I lived in Tokyo, I lived in Ikebukuro, so super downtown Tokyo. My school was in Shibuya. And while I liked my time studying there, I wasn't a big fan of living in Tokyo. I mean, I like the city to visit. There's lots of fun things to do, but living there, surrounded by buildings, it just wasn't really my thing. And that's when I decided to move to Kyoto, because even while traveling, yes, very different. Yeah,
very different.
Yeah. While traveling, Kyoto was always my favorite city. And for me, coming from Switzerland, I'm used to nature. So in Kyoto, the way the city is set up and with the law they have that you can't build any buildings higher than 11 floors, you can always see the mountains and the forests. Yeah, they have like a special law here. That's why there's no skyscrapers in Kyoto. Yeah. So you can always see the nature, you're surrounded by nature in the city. And that for me is like perfect.
Okay, apparently my sound, maybe if I hold my microphone in my hand and I'm not a lazy person, you might be able to hear me a little bit better. I'm gonna actually put the volume a little bit up also, but let's just say hello to a few people. We have quite a few people here. So we've got Michael J from Wales. Hey Michael, I've spoken to Michael in the comments, but I've never spoken to Michael on a live stream, so that's pretty cool. We've got Wolf, I don't know how to say that. Weigelt?
That's my dad, actually. That's pretty funny.
Oh,
hello.
Weigelt. Hello, Nick's dad. We have Andy Stubbs, who's actually been pretty much in every single live stream that I've done. He said hello. And then we've got somebody called Whoever, who's saying that it's hard to hear me, and now he's saying that it's much better. So I'm happy that, basically I was lazy. I had the microphone on my desk. I didn't want to hold the microphone. Saying that, actually, look what I've got in my hand. It's actually 3 p.m. here. It's okay. I can have myself a beer, and I've actually got myself a Japanese beer.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, Asahi.
I'm currently drinking the Kirin Nodogoshi, which is like kind of like a cheap version of a beer. But the next one I've got lined up is also Asahi.
So yeah, I thought basically, if you do have any questions, any comments, please let us know below. I think that what Andy has said is very true. The train station is spectacular. It is amazing. It's incredible. I remember the very first time going up the escalators to the very, very, very top, and just when I thought I was reaching the very top of the escalators, there was another set of escalators going even further up. It's quite
it just keeps going.
So, yeah, I think it's an attraction in itself, and some people, they just pass through Kyoto Station and they don't really experience the station. But if you ever are around that area, there's a good food hall also at the top with some nice views of the city, so it's worth checking that out. So
for sure,
yeah.
And they sometimes have like even like a light up show where they like light up the stairs.
Yeah.
So it looks pretty awesome.
The light up show is actually, they change it depending on the season, actually, I believe. Like the pictures and stuff, and it's like LED. Anyway, it's a pretty cool sort of place to visit. So actually Andy has asked the question that I was going to ask, which is, what is it like in Kyoto right now? What is it like in Kyoto for, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Actually, some good news. It seems like some countries are finally sort of lifting many of the restrictions. What is it like in Kyoto? Please, Nick, let us know.
Sure. Just real quick, if I look over there, I'm just looking at the chat. I got it like on a different screen. Yeah, so if people get confused. Yeah, anyway, so Japan is interesting because they, a few weeks ago, they declared a state of emergency. But in Japan, this is more of like a formality, really, because the government, like, they can't enforce things like they can in Europe, for example, right? I mean, no one, you're not like, you can still go outside. Stores technically are advised to close, but, some of them are still open. But, people are staying home mostly. A lot of people are working from home. It's difficult to do social distancing here because there's just so many people in such a small place, right? But ever since they declared the state of emergency, it's definitely been changing, yeah.
And what is it like in stores? Because, for example, here it's quite limited. And to go into the supermarket, you need to queue up. You need to queue up 2 meters from each person. To go into the supermarket, it's basically one person in, one person out. There's talk of doing a one-way system also inside of the supermarket in the future, that sort of thing. What is it like in convenience stores?
It's not like that at all here. Like, they still let people walk in. Like most supermarkets now have like the alcohol disinfected at the entrance, but you can still walk in just regularly. But they do have those like signs on the floor with like the distance you should keep. But again, it's like, if the store is full, that's impossible to do. So, people try.
Yeah, it would be interesting actually to see what it's like in stores. But Nick was actually my undercover reporter, and he actually went into some of the more popular tourist sites in Kyoto. When, like 2 days ago, something like that.
Monday, yeah, Monday afternoon.
So yeah, like
around noon.
2 days ago for us in Europe. So, and I've got some photos here, basically of some of the locations, some of the places that he went, and I can say for anybody who's actually been to Kyoto, this looks photoshopped.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's pretty insane. Yeah. So this is Fushimi Inari. I mean, probably everyone has been there.
The bottom of Fushimi Inari. Yeah. So
probably everyone has been there, and it's deserted. I mean, there are a few people there, but my God, it's pretty crazy. It's just empty.
It's usually when I'm sort of walking around that area, it's usually an indicator of how busy the gates are gonna be. So if I see that it's very busy down there, I'm like, oh no, it's gonna be super busy further up. But
exactly. Yeah.
So that that is like a picture perfect sort of image of Fushimi Inari Shrine.
That's right, and I mean,
I actually do have a picture like that.
Just to be honest with everyone, though, I mean, I did wait a little bit to take this picture. There was like 2 other people walking down this alleyway, so I waited a little bit to take the picture. But still, I mean, this was around 1 p.m. maybe. I mean, usually around 1 p.m. you would never be able to take a picture like this.
I mean, we have here Evan that says that he had to go at 5 a.m. for it to be that empty. And usually, if you've seen any of my videos in the past, I've got some travel tips, some advice, some itineraries, and some of the things that I've said in the past is basically go to Fushimi Inari early in the morning. The earlier you can, the better, and have breakfast after. Because if you do want to have shots like that, you need to go literally at sunset, and sunrise. Sorry, not sunset, sunrise. And when you get there so early, you'll actually see that there's already people, usually photographers, setting up for these shots. I went the very first time quite a few years ago, about 5, maybe 6 years ago, and I managed to see Fushimi Inari like that. It was pretty spectacular, really. Hey, nice photos, definitely nice photos, but it will be very difficult to take that photo on a normal day. In Kyoto, because unfortunately I feel like Kyoto's changed so much in the last few years. It's become, I call it I compare it to Disneyland.
Yep.
It's quite crazy. I
always compare it to those super crowded beaches that you see sometimes, like in Italy, for example, where it's just so many people and it's like, oh my God, it's crazy. Yeah, Kyoto has been like that a little bit.
Who are from Gibraltar, or watching from Gibraltar, La Caleta, there's a beach in Gibraltar called La Caleta, and it's like that. So again, another awesome picture. Actually, this is quite interesting here, because when I went the very first time, there wasn't a one-way system in place. But the last time I went, there was a a certain direction you went. I think you went in for the one on the right, and you came back.
There's a sign just above the entrance there. Yeah.
But the very first time that I went, the very first maybe 1 or twice that I went, that wasn't in place. So that just goes to show how touristy and how popular it's become that they've had to do that. No, so
yeah.
But if you walk 5 minutes away, you can see things.
Evan has a good point. Yeah. Totally true. Even if you stay on the main path and just go all the way up, most people, the vast majority of people just go to the very bottom area, this area that we're seeing in the picture. And then some more people go to the middle part where you have a bit of a view. And then to the top, only very few people go to the top. So even if you just go up there, it's much more enjoyable, even if there's a lot of tourists.
But that is the most compressed, the amount of torii gates that there are. It's at the bottom. So that's usually where people want to take the photos.
And it's a scene from the super awesome movie Memoirs of a Geisha that was filmed in here. This part of the shrine. Yeah.
I'm just gonna carry on through these are all photos that Nick took just on Monday. So you need to really think about that. This is Kyoto now. This is not some picture perfect image that we found on Google after searching. This is actually Nick going out and taking this picture, and in the past it would have been very difficult. Again, the bottom of Fushimi Inari, right?
Yeah, that's just the entrance to the place. Yeah.
I mean, I think I see a few people on the left. But
there was definitely some people, for sure. I mean, you also have to keep in mind that Fushimi Inari, there's a lot of graves there, so people visit graves. So they're still good, obviously, right?
Jeremy says, you can answer this question. Why are they called torii gates? Torii is a bird, right? But I believe it's a different kanji, Also, torii.
Yes, it's a different kanji, and it's a different pronunciation. It's a different pronunciation. Yeah. So one pronunciation is the gate, and then another one is the bird. And then you have, I think, one more, which is the street. Don't ask me right now, but one of them is like Tori. Yeah, there's like slight differences,
and
but
Tori,
yeah.
no, I think, and also the fact of the matter is that I believe that anything with a Tori gate, or however you say it, is a Shinto shrine.
That's right. Yes. So Shinto shrines have the Tori gates. It's easy to tell the difference if you go to a place and you're not sure is it a temple or a shrine. If the name ends with Ji or Dera, like Kiyomizu Dera, right, or Kinkaku-ji, then it's like well, actually Kinkaku-ji might be a little different, but Senzoji, for example, those are temples. Yeah. And then Taisha is like a shrine, and then also the temples will have the big, famous pagodas, and the shrines have the Torii gates.
So I'm just sending a message. I'm very, very professional.
Oh yeah, and Nara is super nice. I love Nara.
Yeah. If you do actually look at some of the previous videos, especially the stream that I did with Sarah on what it's like traveling with children, we do go into Nara a little bit. There's some footage in there, some funny footage of the deers trying to eat Sarah alive. So yeah, Nara is a really easy place to visit from Kyoto. And also Andy mentioned that the train station is very close to this shrine. It's true, you can just literally get off and walk up some steps across.
That's right, yeah.
Across the train line. No, I believe, if I remember right, you have to cross the train line
to go to Fushiminari.
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember now. You live there, so.
Yeah, it's super close. Yeah, it's like the entrance is right there. Yeah.
So some more photos hopefully will come out. Now this photo shocked me.
This is the cutest data. Yeah.
Why am I so shocked by this photo? Because I have never ever in my life, even when I went the very first time to Japan and it was much quieter, I have never seen Kiyomizu-dera empty like this. Just to put it into perspective, there will be a line on the right hand side going all the way around to the front where you are and continuing basically, and people line up to get one of what's that stick called, Nick? To pick up the water.
I'm not sure. I don't know what the name. No.
But basically, there's like these little like bucket things that you need to like fill with water to cleanse yourself, and and actually one of the things that is super surprising is the force of the water. Have you done it before?
I did it a long time ago. I think on my first visit to Kyoto, or my second, maybe, a long time ago.
But the force of the water is really strong, and I wasn't basically you have to hold it, or else you're worried that it's gonna take the stick away. Especially with little kids, you need to help them. So hey, love flower, nice to see you. So
hello.
Yeah, that picture is totally awesome because it's crazy. That was just a Monday, and there's absolutely no one there.
Monday around noon. Yeah, in Kiyomizu-dera, when I was there, I actually counted. There was 5 people inside the compound. So there's actually more staff there than visitors, which was just insane.
My question,
and by the way, people don't know this.
Go for it.
Oh yeah.
Go for it.
Oh yeah, this place, this water, the fountain, is actually where the temple gets its name from. Kiyomizu-dera. So Kiyomizu is like spring water temple. So, or like a spring or like clear water. So this is where it gets its name.
Yeah. Well, what I was wondering, what I was gonna ask you really, is do you think it's so empty because there's no tourists, or do you think it's so empty because people are more conscious of not going out and mixing with people? Because basically my question is it a tourist spot or is it a local spot, and is that the reason why it's so quiet? What do you think?
That's a really good question. I think it's a little bit of both. Obviously right now with the country's restrictions of letting people inside, there's like no foreign tourists at the moment, like 0 basically. But Japanese people as well are traveling much less. If you look at the numbers of how many people are taking the Shinkansen. And by the way, Golden Week started now, right? So that's a big deal. But the traffic is way down. There's less flights, so people avoid going to these places. Too, local people do it too. And for me, I want to kind of bring this up a little bit. While I was there, I was walking around Kiyomizu-dera, and I was thinking this is incredible. This is, I'm here with 5 other people, never in my life will I ever be in that situation. This is super unique, very interesting. And I thought, part of me was like, I should really enjoy this. I should really take this in and
But
enjoy this
feeling
unique
guilty,
moment.
weren't you?
Exactly. And another part of me was like, I feel like I shouldn't be here. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. So it's very weird. And so I spent, I really just walked through it quickly, took some pictures and left because I felt kind of bad about it.
Yeah,
and I think that's the main reason why.
Way, I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's the main reason why people don't go there right now is because they don't want to put other people at risk.
Hey, Nicholas Victor's in the house. So Andy also is asking
Hello.
if most temples are still open or whether they're closed. Because here in Europe, right. For those of you who are not from Europe, and probably in elsewhere, all places of worship are basically closed. Now, whether or not you want to consider a temple a place of worship or not, or a place that you visit, are they still open, Nick?
So obviously I don't know about every single temple and shrine, but for the ones I went to, so I also on the same day I went to Yasaka Shrine, which is right downtown at the end of Shijodori, and they had big signs up front just saying that during this period, they had like a couple dates listed, I don't remember. They said like, please try and not come inside just in case we want to keep the numbers down. Okay. And then at Kiyomizudera I actually talked to the staff there and asked them, because they all had a similar sign, and I asked them and they said, no, it will stay open, you can still go, but starting today, actually the 29th, until the end of Golden Week, they will not sell anything. You can't buy any souvenirs, you can't buy the fortune things.
Shops are closed, that kind of thing.
That's
right.
Yeah.
Move on to the next picture.
Sure.
Again, I think that's it then, Nick. Looking at the pictures, I thought you sent me one of Kiyomizudera, the actual temple, but for some reason it's not there.
It should be somewhere. There was also one of Sanenzaka, the famous street leading up to Kiyomizudera.
For some reason it hasn't appeared. I'll try and find it in a moment. But
sure.
But I mean that's basically the state in Kyoto right now. And actually, a question that I have for you, because you're a student there.
Yes.
What is it like? What were your impressions of Japan when you came at the very, very, very start, and now? Have things changed?
You mean now with the current situation, or in general?
Not just in general, because people say people have this honeymoon period, with Japan, where they think that it's a perfect country, and they think that it's really clean and that everybody's really polite, and basically that it's a perfect country. But
sure.
But like all countries, really, things change. You start realizing that it's still an incredible country, and it's still probably, in my opinion, ahead of some other countries for many things. But so, has your opinion changed? What was your first impression when you came of the culture of Japan and Kyoto, etc., and what is it like now? That's my question. Sorry, a very long question.
Sure, no, totally. I mean, yeah, it's definitely it changes for sure. I mean, but I think this is true. No matter where you go, right? This is true for every country. Traveling somewhere and living somewhere is not the same. And as you said, that honeymoon period, it definitely wears off after a while. And for me right now, after being here for about 4 years, it's just, everyday life. The cool thing is that I still discover new things all the time, just not as frequently as I used to in the beginning, but it's still cool. But I mean, Japan, there's some things I love about Japan, some things that are not so good about Japan. We talked about this a couple of days ago, actually. For example, when it comes to gender equality and that kind of stuff, Japan is terrible.
I keep on telling
just
people and they don't believe it. But I do tell people.
Yeah, absolutely, it's crazy. I mean, in the gender equality report, Japan ranks 120 out of 140 something countries. It's crazy, and it's especially interesting because in Japan more women go to university than men. Right, so you have more female university graduates than men, but when it comes to the higher ranking positions, it's it changes completely. Japan gets terrible scores for when it comes to politics. Like there's very few women in politics.
Wow. Yeah.
So because of that, right? So some things I really love about Japan, other things are not ideal.
Yeah, that's
but
the thing.
I think every country has its flaws.
I think that's basically what I was trying to say. That every country is unique and is has its own like ups and downs, things that you love, things that you don't love, and ultimately I think one of the point that you said was very true. Like when you're there on holiday, you're in holiday mentality, and when you're living there, you're like in living mentality. It's completely different. So
that's true.
That is totally true. Actually, I think we've come to a point now, and we have a few new people here. We have Arash. Hello, Arash. I don't know where you're from, but
hello, Arash.
Please, let us know where you're all from anyway in the comments, because we like to know. We've seen some people from Switzerland. I know Andy is in Australia. I know that Michael is in Wales. I know that Nicholas is in Gibraltar. There's people in Switzerland, so we've got a fully like international sort of community of people there in the chat, and let us know. But what I'm going to do now is actually we're going to go into the segment, which is this little sort of game show that I try to get right.
I'm excited. I'm excited
every single time, but every single time I try this, something goes wrong. It's like the cursed game show, seriously. Or the audio doesn't work, or it's out of sync, or whatever. So basically, just to explain a few little things, the way it works is I'm gonna spit out some questions and you have to answer between two things as quickly as you can without thinking, basically.
So just pick one, right?
Just pick one out of two. Most of the questions are related to Japan or to yourselves. Wow, Panama City.
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome. That is, I mean, truly incredibly international people on the chat. Awesome. That's what I like to see. So like I said, you're gonna choose between two things. This is called shooting ninja stars. I don't know why I came up with that name, but it's called shooting ninja stars. And let's see, let me just make sure that everything's working. Let's get this started. Shooting ninja stars.
I love the animation.
Okay, so shooting ninja stars. Hopefully you can hear me, and hopefully everything is in sync, and hopefully the music isn't too loud. And hopefully you can hear Nick. So Nick, say something. I'm just going to double check that you can hear us all.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Too long, that animation. Sorry. Jalta is in the house also. Wow, Jalta. Nice to see you in the house. So, are you ready for the questions? This is an opportunity to get to know Nick a little bit better. And obviously, see what his questions are going to be. Ready?
I am ready.
So,
let's do it.
Rice or noodles?
Rice.
Sapporo or Asahi beer?
Sapporo. Even though I'm drinking Asahi right now, but Sapporo.
Tokyo or Kyoto?
Kyoto.
Udon or soba?
Soba.
McDonald's or Moss Burger?
McDonald's.
Okay, I think Higashiyama or Gion?
Ooh. Higashiyama.
Wow, we'll talk about that now in a minute, actually. Tempura or gyoza?
Gyoza.
Okay, let's see. Spring or autumn in Japan?
Autumn. Easy.
Pokemon or Mario?
Mario.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs. Easy.
Bus or train?
Train.
J-rock or J-pop?
Ooh, J-rock. I guess.
Okay.
Sure.
Manga or anime?
Anime.
Okay. And the last one, subtitled or dubbed?
Subtitle. for sure.
Awesome. I think that it went smoothly this time. Let me know in the comments. You can also answer the questions as we would have done those. I'm gonna ask them one more time. Maybe the viewers can also give us their answers. Yeah. So I said rice or noodles. I said Sapporo or Asahi beer, Tokyo or Kyoto. I said udon or soba noodles. I said McDonald's or Moss Burger.
So to reply to whoever, the only Kirin beer I'd pick over Sapporo is this one.
Okay. Then I said tempura or gyoza. I don't think I asked that one. Actually, I missed it. Tempura or gyoza. I said.
You asked.
Did
it,
I?
you
Okay.
It. Yes.
Then I said spring or autumn in Japan. Pokemon or Mario. Dog or cat. Bus or train. J-rock or J-pop. Manga or anime. Subtitled or dubbed. Moss Burger. What did you say there? Did you say McDonald's or Moss Burger?
I said McDonald's. Yeah, I like Moss Burger, but I don't know. The Big Mac is too good.
Yeah, I guess it's because when I travel in Japan, I'm a tourist, so and I can get McDonald's here anytime.
Sure. Yeah.
So I always usually go for Moss Burger, but apparently 100% done well. We're improving in the channel. By the way, I think that we deserve a like for that flawless game show. And if you're new to the channel, then don't forget that you can also subscribe if you like what you're seeing. Thank you very, very, very much. So, one of the questions that I asked you was Higashiyama or Gion. Can you explain what I mean by that for those people who might not know Kyoto as well?
Well, first of all, Gion is technically in Higashiyama. Like Higashiyama is one of the wards in Kyoto.
Yeah,
it's okay. but
you know what I meant by
I guess,
that, right?
Yeah. Like the temples and stuff near, like on the near the mountains. So Gion is the old like the old district in Kyoto that still very much looks like it used to look back in the day. It's where you'll see a lot of the geisha, like Maiko, Geiko walk around. And then Higashiyama, usually say Higashiyama is like the area, with Kiyomizu-dera, Kodaiji, and Fushimi-Inari, sort of the more towards the hill, the mountains in the nature.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredibly beautiful. For pictures, I think it's much more beautiful than Gion, in my opinion. For photos, However,
I think so too. Yeah.
Probably wouldn't see many geishas, would you, or maikos in that area. You'd have to go down to Gion. That's the main area.
That's right.
Where they are.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thoughts on remote raid system in Pokemon Go. Jalta, I think I'll talk about that in another video. I'm going to try and keep this a little bit more Japan related. Although Pokemon is from Japan before you say anything. Do you play Pokemon Go, Nick?
I used to when it first came out, and that's when I was studying in Kobe, 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I used to play for a little bit back then.
So, one of the things that myself and Nick, or Nick and myself, if I want to be correct in my English, we are both passionate about onsens.
Very much.
And bathing in hot springs and all that kind of thing. In fact, we've met once before in Kyoto. Where did we meet?
We went to Sauna no Umeyu, which is like my favorite sento in Kyoto. And sento is like a public bath. So I'd show you that place. It's a pretty cool place, like very old school, but has like
it was awesome.
New young owners. So it's a pretty cool place. Yeah.
It was pretty cool. We went very, very early. That's actually the very first time that we met. Kind of strange maybe for other people to think two guys meeting up to have a bath naked together sort of thing. But it's a very Japanese cultural thing, like doing that. And it was pretty awesome.
Japan is normal,
you can't be shy going to an onsen. You can be shy. You can't. I guess you can. I think you just need to change your way of thinking, and you have to change your chip if you're gonna go to an onsen, because you are gonna be naked. You are gonna be with other people, other strangers, but just think of it, everybody's in the same sort of. But what's the culture like in Switzerland in terms of like being naked in front of other people? Because that's a big part also.
Yeah.
Of,
Yeah.
of how people feel, no?
It's
About
not very
onsen.
common. It's not very common in Switzerland, I would say. I mean, there's some like, public saunas and stuff where people go. But for most people, it's probably a little bit uncomfortable, I would say. And it took me a little bit to get used to it as well. Yeah.
It's definitely, I mean, I have to admit, it wasn't like a walk in the park. It wasn't like, yay, I went to onsen the very first time and I wasn't shy and I wasn't conscious and I wasn't, worried at all. The more you do it, the less you worry and the more you realize that actually you just have to enjoy the experience of the bath instead of worrying about the people around you. Plus, you are naked, but once you're in the bath, you're sort of, nobody can see anything. You're in the bath.
That's right.
So it's
Exactly. Yeah.
You're like walking around, like, hey, it's a different sort of thing. I am a natural nudist. Well, Jeremy's one of my best friends. He would know. Actually, if you haven't checked out Jeremy's live stream we did a few days ago, check it out. After this stream, though, it hasn't actually. YouTube decided that there was some copyright infringement sort of things, so it's decided to no longer promote it, which is why views have all of a sudden stopped. But it's okay. We'll do some other stuff, Jeremy, in the future. So I want to go through some of the onsens that Nick has picked out. The first one, by the way, you're going to be seeing some footage from Nick's vlogs. The first one is an onsen called Shirahone Onsen in Nagano. Okay.
Yes,
hey guys,
Shirahone
what's
Onsen
going
in
on?
Nagano.
Welcome
So
to another video.
Shirahone means
It's been a long time. Way
white
too long.
bone.
Sorry about that.
Basically
First
translated.
of all,
So
a big
this unique thing about
hello
Shirahone
to
Onsen
the
is
new
that
subscribers.
the water is like
a bunch of new
milky
subscribers
white, which is
came,
super
I think, from
cool.
the apartment.
So if you're shy, by the way, that place is perfect because when you go in the water, it's just you can't see inside the water. And I went there in 2017 with my dad when he visited me, and it was an amazing experience.
That is my favorite sort of 17 people in the chat. Awesome.
Oh, wow.
That is definitely my favorite sort of onsen, is when you get that milky, murky water. I don't know, it just feels like spiritual and magical in an awesome way. But we have also a question there. We can talk about that in a moment. Actually, Arash, is Kyoto extremely traditional? It is, but walk me through like what we're seeing now. Obviously, some of the countryside. Nagano.
This is just
is where.
Yeah. So Nagano is like basically in the center of Honshu, kind of. I mean, if you go from Kyoto, I had to go.
And from Tokyo is very easy to get to, by the way. So
it's quite close from Tokyo, and I had to go through, through Gifu, basically, up to Nagano. And then we stayed in this really cool ryokan, very, 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 very awesome room. It was fantastic. It was so beautiful. Incredible place. And the cool thing about this place was, so this is Shirahone Onsen, but it's basically, this is the room right there, right?
That is spectacular, man.
Yeah, look at that view, Beautiful place.
Nice shots, by the way. Nice camera work.
Thanks. Yeah. You know what? I used the chair that was in the room as like a stabilizer. So I just put this chair down on the tatami, put my camera on top to like slide it across.
That is definitely my kind of place. I mean, you stayed there with your dad. You said, is that when you shot this vlog? With your dad?
And it's in the middle of nowhere. To get there, I had to get a train all the way to Matsumoto, which is in Nagano. And then from there, I had to take a long bus ride up the mountains, in the middle of the mountains, where I was then picked up by a shuttle bus from the ryokan. And middle of nowhere. It's just the onsen area. It's like a small intersection, and then from there, you branch off different streets to go to the different ryokan that all use the same onsen water, basically, or the same source. Super in the mountains.
Actually, that's something that most onsen villages or towns have in common. They usually all share the same water. So
that's right.
A little tip that I've learned myself when I'm traveling is that sometimes you don't have to stay in an onsen. You can actually visit and get a pass to an onsen. You can stay in a cheaper accommodation and then visit the better onsen and get a very similar experience without paying so much, because some of these sort of ryokan places can be quite expensive, quite pricey.
Exactly. Yeah. Totally.
There's a little chat here, a little thing on the chat which is about tattoos, and I kind of spoke to Carlos in one of my previous streams about tattoos, and Nick was actually in the chats there, and one of the things that I said is that there's no harm in asking, and most of the time I think that they're gonna say to, if they say to you no, you can't because the policy is no tattoos, then obviously respect it. But a lot of the time they might actually, even though the policy is no tattoos, they might actually say go in, if somebody complains you have to leave, we might ask you to leave. So there's no harm in actually asking. And also I think that nowadays more and more like onsens are sort of becoming more tattoo friendly in Japan, from my experience.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Koku, the oldest onsen in Japan. That was my room. But you'll see now, this onsen is the oldest onsen in Japan and arguably the most famous onsen in Japan. It's the onsen that was actually that actually inspired Spirited Away's bathhouse, which just that just goes to say, you know, how famous it is. And this onsen, I should have cut all this out. I just want to see the onsen, and I can't fast forward, but it's going to come out now, promise. But this onsen was tattoo friendly, which totally shocked me that an onsen like this will be tattoo friendly, and hopefully we'll get some views of the onsen. And there we go.
There it is.
Awesome onsen there. Hey, whoever.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, right, with the tattoo thing. Like, I don't have any tattoos, but I've never been to a place where it seemed to be an issue, but other people have said that they had issues. So it's certainly still a thing, but I don't think it's that common anymore. You know, and I've been to many places, Arima Onsen, for example, or the Sento that we went to, where I've seen, full blown, same with Kinosaki Onsen, I've seen, old Japanese guys, 70 years old, full body tattoos, definitely Yakuza that were in there, and it was
definitely
not
Yakuza. I hope they're not watching this video,
If they're that old with the full body tattoo, then they're most likely, right? Yeah. And so that's a thing too, right? So so it really depends on the place.
But yeah, definitely I do recommend going to Dogo Onsen. It's more like a public it feels more like a center, to be honest. More than anything, it just has it's like a big
Dogo Onsen,
it just has so many sort of like bath rooms. Like you can have like the royal room and the like commoner's room and the whatever, so it's pretty cool. So that one we have, some people have said, let's see, massage chairs, yes, in the hotel, in the like ryokan that I stayed in. Oh yeah, and I had to wear the whole like yukata around
I love it.
the town. I love it also. I have
it's
one.
So
I nearly wore it for this stream, but I thought it would be a bit weird.
Slightly,
yeah. Then, actually, nothing to do with an onsen, but something to do with a yukata. Last week, I was locked out of my house, and I wear my yukata just to when I get out of the shower and stuff, And I was actually locked out of my house in my yukata, and I had to go up to my neighbor and in social distancing, sort of get her to help me. It was kind of embarrassing, but there you go. A guy in yukata in Europe, So, what's your favorite onsen? Actually, I think I have it here.
Well, I agree with whoever in chat who says favorite onsen is Takaragawa Onsen, actually, because we went there together.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Is the person in the chat, you went with
I'm in a
the
hotel in Tokyo right now. I'm near Kanda Station, but I'm just about to check out.
But my buddy in
whoever.
I am going to my favorite place in Japan.
Yeah, so his name is whoever.
I've been there before.
A bit confusing.
I've even made a video about it
I
before.
didn't know
whoever was where it is.
From, so.
I'm super excited. This will be my third time
so
there.
Takaragawa Onsen is by far my favorite one. I think.
With my friends.
Yeah, this is some footage coming up from there.
It's raining like crazy outside.
It's in Gunma Prefecture, so it's about an hour Shinkansen ride from Tokyo, and then there you get picked up from the hotel, and it's about a 40-minute bus ride to get there. Also, like in the middle of nowhere, Takaragawa is the name of the river that is located there,
common,
and the cool thing is
the whole bus go to an onsen.
Yeah, very common. Yeah, and so the cool thing about there is that you have a lot of like really big outside baths. Like a lot of onsen you go to, if they have an outside bath, it's often quite small, but that one has huge outside pools, right next to the river, surrounded by mountains and trees, and a lot of like very beautiful architecture. And at night the lights, it's just so beautiful. It's an incredible place. Highly recommend it.
It looks. I mean, Nick has tried to convince me numerous times to go, but unfortunately every time it's just been the wrong moment. I was in Osaka over New Year's, and it would have been just too far away, I think, for me in the short amount of time
from Osaka for sure.
that I had. So, but it's definitely on my list of places to go, and it's in Gunma, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in Gunma. If you're in Tokyo, it's totally worth going for one night. It's quite close from Tokyo. One special thing about this onsen is that it's actually shared. So men and women bathe together, which might put some people off.
Oh, really?
Now, yes,
Bonus.
I will say this though. So women do have their own private outdoor bath if they wanted to use it. Like that's like secluded from the rest. And also women have to wear this, or they get to wear this kind of like, it's like a robe, or like a big brown dress that covers them up completely, so it's not a big deal.
So they
but
can
as a guy,
be covered up then.
Yeah. As a guy, all you get is the small little white towel. So
really,
you can't. Yeah, you're quite exposed. So if that's an issue, then maybe that place. But still, because if you stay there in the hotel, you have access to the baths 24/7, right? So you can go if you wanted to. You could go at 2 a.m. and then you're by yourself.
And you said that you've been in all seasons, I think. Is that what you said to me?
All seasons except like peak spring. I've been at the end of spring. I've been in summer, in fall, and in winter, and it's really, really amazing. Yeah. In winter, it's beautiful. You're surrounded by steep snow, And,
by the way, don't forget to check out Nick's Instagram, because he's got some really cool pictures, I know, from his life in Japan.
I don't post very often, but sure.
But when he does, it's something good, and he's got a good backlog of stuff. Don't forget that you can like the video now. It does really help if you like what you're seeing. If you want to see more of this kind of content, actually, if you are somewhere and you have a passion for Japan or travel, and you want to talk about anything, and you want to be part of one of these live streams, just message me, and I'm more than happy to talk with anyone. Really, I'll talk to anybody really about traveling. So yeah, I do want to make my way there.
There's a good question in chat from Chaltar. Would you say after all this virus stuff is over, that travel to Japan could be a bit cheaper to make up for lost money? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, It's interesting because right now, obviously the tourism industry in Japan is hit hard, not just from international tourism, but also, domestic tourism. And, just a few days ago, I saw on the news that the First Cabin hotel chain, which is quite famous, they have filed bankruptcy, so they're out of business. But they have apparently been struggling for even a few years because there's so many new hotels popping up everywhere. There's a lot of competition, so across the board, there's a lot of empty hotel rooms, and now they're struggling hard. I don't know if it will be cheaper when it's all over.
I think the main problem, James, I think the main problem that we might have is that airfares might become very expensive after all of this. That's my thought. Is that perhaps hotels might become a little bit cheaper because they want to fill up the rooms.
Sure.
But I don't know, because there's some like relatively luxury hotels down like in the south of Spain, and they basically close down 2/3 of the hotel when it's low season, and they don't employ that many people.
Right.
So that's I think quite a common sort of practice in the hotel industry. They don't necessarily have to fill up every single room. They just basically have a reduced amount of rooms so that they don't have to employ so many people. So it could go either way. We have Adrian's in the house also.
Hello, Adrian.
We'll just go to the Costa del Sol in the south of Spain. Well, hopefully we'll be able to go to the Costa del Sol in the south of Spain, but we don't know what's going to happen really. Now,
I mean, the other thing I'm thinking about, is that I don't know how it's going to like pick back up, right? Let's say, restrictions get lifted, people can visit Japan again, and even, in their own countries, people can move freely again. Will people really just start traveling again like they used to, or will people still be careful and, I don't want to go to an airport, I don't want to be on a plane for 12 hours with other people? Who knows, right? I mean,
it is, as somebody who loves to travel and loves to travel around Japan, it is a little bit worrying. I'm supposed to be going in July. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it is even as a solo traveler, especially, you start thinking, what happens if I'm traveling on my own and I catch this virus and I'm on my own? So it is going to change the landscape of travel for sure, I think, but we'll see.
Oh wow,
we can hope for the best, right?
Andy's saying there's no international flights from Australia till next year. Wow. Okay, that's pretty crazy. Holy crap. Yeah, I didn't know that.
I know that I can fly. My flight status is still my flight is still happening. The problem is at the moment Japan wouldn't allow me in. Into the country. So
yeah.
And
I mean, it's still 2 months, so who knows? But
we'll see. I mean, I'm not gonna worry about that right now. But talking about, he spoke right now about his favorite onsen, and I'm gonna talk about my favorite onsen, which is Onsen. And what I loved about this place was basically the hells, more than the actual onsen like baths, because there's quite a few ryokans with onsen style baths that you can go to. It's the area around it. It was just like smoky, and like the smell in the air. It was green. I love the smell. It was just so like this really cool place to walk around. And again, not many people when I went. There had been an earthquake, I think 2 or 3 weeks before, and a lot of people decided, I think, to stop traveling. Maybe that's why I loved it so much. But have you had some of those eggs? Eggs?
Maybe in Beppu, but I'm not sure anymore. Maybe in Beppu, we tried them.
So yeah, this one's Onsen, which is in Nagasaki actually. So that's probably my favorite onsen. Gonna go back to some of your other onsens that you sent me. Some pictures from Arima Onsen.
Hey guys,
Arima
what's going on? Welcome to
Arima
another
Onsen
video. Today I'm going to go on a little
one of the
trip.
most famous onsen in all of Japan, like for Japanese people anyways. It's a very old one. It's in Hyogo Prefecture, so Kobe. So from Kobe it's quite close. And it's an interesting place because I think it's like one of those places that was really built up in the bubble period, back in the late 80s. So there's a lot of like the really big hotels. So the town itself is not that beautiful, but they have some really unique baths. They have the kin no yu, so kin means gold, and the yu is like the hot water, right? And so the water is supposed to be gold, but it's actually kind of like brown. But it's still super unique. Like I've never seen it anywhere else, and so that's kind of cool. That's the one you can go to, and it's if you're in the area from Kobe, it's super close and very convenient to get to. It's a nice little day trip.
It's near Kobe.
Yeah, it's like basically how Kobe is like between the ocean and the mountains.
Okay.
If you go over the mountain, you get to Arima Onsen. You can even take the cable car from Kobe City up the mountain and then another cable car back down to get there, or take a train like around.
Awesome. I should have asked you, or maybe I did, about like different onsens that I could have visited when I was there in in the winter time. I really wanted to experience the snow, right? Onsen with snow, but it was just not gonna happen. I chose to go to Osaka because my flight was a little bit cheaper. But I think that if I would have gone up to Tokyo, I would have had a better chance of going up and having some onsen with the snow. So
yeah,
but it looks pretty cool, actually. Arima Onsen.
Yeah, so it's like some like famous onsen places like Arima. They're just really built up big hotel touristy places, but it's still like a nice place to visit for sure, even if it's just for the unique water there.
What is a Kobe disco train?
Kobe disco train?
What is a
Wait
Kobe?
a second. Oh, I guess that was in the video. Maybe it was earlier in the video.
Oh,
yeah,
was
I
it?
remember. Yeah, I didn't pay attention to the video all that much, but I think I filmed something there. It was like stationed in the train station. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just another one of those unique trains in Japan, like the Hello Kitty train and the whatever. So I guess it's a disco train in Kobe.
Okay. Man, that sounds like a vlog in itself. I need to track down the onsen train and can you imagine? Sorry, I've just said, instead of saying a disco train, I've said onsen train. Can you imagine an onsen train? Everyone naked in baths, like on the way.
If it was as stabilized as the Shinkansen, it would work pretty well, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, a Shinkansen, but maybe not the local trains. Definitely
maybe not. Yeah.
So you recently went on some sort of local experience.
Yeah, so I thought that would be interesting to talk about, since you also really like the Japanese countryside.
I love the Inaka.
And
I love it,
yeah, and we did this last year in October. Yeah, October last year from our university. We had what was called the Community Engagement Program, where we went in to different places. Some of the people went abroad, and I chose to join the program in Kyotango. So Kyotango is Kyotango is the northern part of the Kyoto prefecture along the the Sea of Japan. Super countryside, basically no tourists, about an hour and a half from Kyoto City, but a very, very beautiful area. Yeah, a very beautiful area, like beautiful sights, and we did some really interesting activities throughout that month. We stayed in an old eco village with 300-year-old houses. We lived together for a month.
I'll put the pictures on.
Sure, yeah, let's look at some of the pictures.
So
I can talk about those a bit.
The photos. He sent me some pictures of the area, etc. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, so those are
the beaches were a little bit dirty, no?
Yeah, so one of the activities with it there was like a beach cleanup thing. That's the downside of the Sea of Japan is because of the currents in that area, all the trash from Japan, but also from Korea and China gets, washed up on those shores. So people regularly have to clean up the beaches. So especially after typhoon, they're quite dirty. Yeah, that was we visited a little local sea salt factory, and this old gentleman showed us around. He was super nice, super happy. In that picture, we can see the house where we lived on the left side. So it's surrounded by rice fields for a month in the middle of nowhere. It's pretty cool. We participated at a festival there, the Kumihama Iku Matsuri.
What is it called? Sorry?
Kumihama is the place, and then Iku is the whole ward or town, and then the Akimatsuri is the falls festival. And I got to join that team. Kirishima Yama was the team called. And we carried the
Mikoshi. Wearing sort of different colors though.
Yeah, you can see, if you maybe we can see the video later of that place. You see some other people had colorful dresses too. You can see it there.
Oh yeah. I'll actually I'll put some of I'll let this slideshow run a little bit because it's really beautiful. No, I think there's a really nice beauty to the Inaka part of Japan.
Yeah. Right there is in the eco village where they had a little bathhouse built, and we had to heat up the water with like a little stove, make a fire, heat up the water, and you could sit in that wooden tub and enjoy the view. It was amazing. That was the house we lived in.
That's the house, no?
That's
really
inside.
cool.
Yeah, this was the inside. Yeah, it was 13 of us.
So
It's a
you
two-story
stayed
house.
there with students, right?
Yeah, 12 other students. Yeah, 13 of us.
I mean, that's quite an experience. Nick was telling me that he had the option of going to different parts around the world, and he chose to go to the north of Kyoto, which is pretty cool, because I think when you are given an opportunity to like live like a local, like in the Inaka part of Japan, I would have done the same, I think. Definitely.
Oh yeah, for me it was such an easy decision. I mean, for a lot of the Japanese students, you know, they went to Canada or Australia or Malaysia, which is for them is much more exciting than, you know, going to Kyoto. But for me, you know, I'm already studying abroad in Japan. I'm interested in the Japanese culture anyways and the language. So this was like for me the perfect option.
How did you take that photo?
This one?
Yeah, it looks like really high up.
Oh yeah, so this was from a mountain called Kabuto Yama. Do you know Kabuto? I think Kabuto isn't that a Pokemon name, Kabuto?
Oh, it is actually. It is.
Yeah. So Kabuto, I think it means helmet, maybe. I'm not sure. But basically, the mountain is shaped like that, so that's why it's called like that. So we went up there and took a picture from there, and in the distance, I don't know if it was visible on the stream, but you could see the oyster farms in the ocean, like on the left side. Yeah.
I know that I've got some video here of the festival that we took part in, which I mean I can say that I've also been part of a festival. Nothing like this crazy running.
This was insane, yeah. So I didn't really know what was happening. I was just carrying that thing, and suddenly they started running. It was insane. Like I almost tripped, and like, oh my god, if you trip, it's over, game over.
Can you imagine? It's
but yeah,
you know,
they ran back there, and then
heavy stuff.
Thanks. Sorry.
It's so heavy.
Super heavy. Yeah. And what you can't really see from the video, there's actually 2 people sitting inside, like playing the drum. So.
I mean, the train that I carried wasn't as big as that. But I also had the opportunity to speak because mine was unplanned. My friend lives in
Oh, apparently need to mute the video.
Oh, sorry, the video is playing. I thought I removed all the audio from the video. Hey, Melemon, can you hear us now? Let's go back. Okay, we'll repeat. So he was saying how crazy it was, the running and everything.
Yeah, and this
and
part
how
I
heavy.
did, like,
we're talking about
this
how heavy the thing is.
Didn't participate. Because there was this was like a rehearsed thing they do where they carry the mikoshi from beneath and they like drop it to the sides and like pretty insane.
God,
so I'm just standing with the side, for this part. But we were
I
carrying
mean,
around town. Yeah.
It is so much fun. Did you drink alcohol? Did they give you drinks?
We started the day before. We kept going the morning off. Then we started carrying it. There was a lot of breaks, in between, and every time someone put a bottle of beer and a glass of sake in your hand. So yeah, plenty.
I mean, it is kind of crazy. I want to show you because this is my one. As you can see, the shrine wasn't as big, and I wasn't planning on. At least you sort of were planning on doing that. But my friend who's Japanese in Tokushima, she said, "Oh, do you want to go and visit my best friend who lives in a little fishing village? They're having some kind of a matsuri there, some kind of a festival. Do you want to come down and we can say hello and see how they're doing? You know?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. That sounds like fun." No, literally, I got there. The moment I got there, the locals, they just got me, and they're like, "You're gonna help us out." They start pouring sake down my throat, and it was definitely not planned, and it was also fun because these are all fishermen, and I was actually told by my friend that these people are very wealthy because fishermen in Japan can make a lot of money.
Right.
So this was like a tiny little thing, and it was like this community spirit, with the kids throwing water at everybody, and there was this guy that was basically, I think, in charge of pouring sake down your throat. Like he just went around. But I was gonna say that there I am. But what I was gonna say was that I had also the crazy opportunity of, I don't know what the words are, chosa,
stream, same thing when we were carrying it,
Yeah, well, I
was
given the job. I was given the job of actually leading the omikochi down the road, screaming the chant.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. It's great. It's fun to participate in these kind of things, right?
It is. It's very local. Also,
yeah,
I think
totally.
I think like a big Matsuri like Kyoto, no way. I mean, you need to have like the contacts, like Kyoto Matsuri to get in there.
Of course.
But I honestly think that had it been any other tourist walking around this little fishing village, they would have probably invited them to join in, because that's the kind of community spirit,
right.
They have.
Yeah.
And Nick was also.
We're participating in various activities and events. So this is just one of
so actually this was like university students from somewhere in the Kansai area who went there and made like a little TV program about it. And they interviewed a lot of people. And I'm holding a little glass of sake in there that I was like, just drinking it.
Oh yeah, you are, yeah. Like
I've seen the Gion Matsuri in Kyoto.
Yeah.
But
no, it was so much fun, and like even from the cultural part aspect, or like historical aspect, like this specific festival has been going on since the early, or maybe not early, but some time in the Edo period, right? So to be there and like being able to participate is like super cool to me. Like I think that's really like awesome.
I mean, you were at least wearing the attire. I was wearing my traveling clothes basically, and they actually invited me back. They're like, come back next year and we'll kit you out. We'll give you the proper clothes. And apparently their little like carrying of the omikochi is like a 2 or 3 day thing. So I was like they do that for 2 or 3 days, where basically you just carry it, you eat, you drink, you fall, you sleep, and then you repeat the following day. So
same thing with this festival. This was like an all-weekend event. Unfortunately, the first day was cancelled because of a typhoon, so they only did the second day. But still, it was fun, and you can see I'm wearing like these
I love the Japanese countryside.
It's kind of like a rope,
and I want to get to
cloth that's like over my shoulders.
Sorry, guys, you couldn't hear again. I need to be. It's okay. I've sorted it out now. It's sorted. Sorry. This is live stuff. This happens. Believe you me, we're talking about interesting things. That's all you need to know. Yeah, the sound of the video, apparently, I said it all out, but for some reason it's gone back to forgetting the settings. You could hear, it was just loud, no? So actually, Andy asks, Nick, do you speak Japanese? Nihongo hanashimasu ka?
Hai shabereremasu. I mean, like, I speak like everyday Japanese, everyday Japanese is fine.
Everyday Japanese is cool.
Ever since I entered university, because I'm studying in English, I've kind of neglected it a little bit. But I was gonna say about the festival. Like this festival, you get like this piece of cloth that they put over your shoulders and bind behind your back, which sort of arches your back a little bit, which helps with carrying the mikoshi.
I wasn't given any of that. That's a thing.
Yeah.
So
you can see it there, like the green piece of cloth over my shoulders, and then we also had like a little pillow that you just hang around your body, and whenever you have to carry, you put the pillow on your shoulder, and then you carry the mikoshi.
Yeah, that's the problem that I had because it awesome.
The headband.
Yeah, cool. Because it wasn't planned. I just picked it up without any padding or anything, and I could see them. I was thinking to myself, hey, wait a minute, these people they have like a special thing on their shoulders, right?
Yep.
And I think there was a little bit of a put the foreigner at the front sort of mentality there.
To me,
it's quite funny.
To me, you can see it a little bit in this video. Actually, they taught us to like walk in a specific way.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to if you have it on your shoulders, you have to walk a little bit sideways and then just bounce with the rhythm. And if you didn't do that correctly, it would just really mess up your shoulders and your back. So that took a little bit of time until we got used to it.
Up from my little adventure. Andy is asking if we've been to the Naked Man Festival, because it looks like madness. I haven't, and it does look like craziness.
Yep.
Although again, I don't know. I think that some of these festivals, they've become so sort of popular and with tourists, that sort of thing, that perhaps it might be difficult to get into some of these festivals. Don't you think, Nick? I don't know. You might need to know somebody.
I wouldn't even know where to start, to be honest. Like without knowing someone. I think the Ikuta Matsuri in Aomori, I think there you can just apply, I think. But I'm not even sure about that. But like for this festival right here, the Kumihama festival that we're seeing in the video, I think you'd have to know someone for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you had a incredibly local experience, didn't you? I mean, you were telling me about rice planting also?
Yeah. So this was in the same area of Kyoto or Kyotango. But this was May last year, so this wasn't at a different time, but we went there for one day to do like a rice planting activity. We call it taue in Japanese, taue. It's rice planting. Yeah, so we went there for a day and joined the local community planting rice by hand, which, nowadays they plant rice with machines, but for this like special event once a year, they invite people from all over and you could just spend a day planting rice by hand, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, and it's a big mess, but that's part of it. Yes. Yeah, exactly. That was like part of it too, right? So we planted the rice for part of the day, and then the second half we spent sitting together in like a public facility, just eating food and drinking beer and
There we go. The sound. Seriously.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to like hire Jeremy as my sound guy and have him like on a separate chat, like basically buzzing me, like the sound. Yeah. I don't know. Nearly perfect stream, but it has to be a little bit strange.
Oh, I can hear it now for some reason.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put on my other. There. Sorry, my earpiece lost connection. Needs to be charged. But yeah, it's live. This is just proof that it's live, right?
Yeah.
It can't be perfect. But tell us about your experience. Then you were telling me I was asking you about whether or not there was like a feast, but I could just imagine everybody getting together to plant the rice, and then everybody at the end having some sort of a feast together.
Yeah, lots of food, lots of beer and sake, and you had to be careful not to drink too much because it just kept coming and filling up your cup again, but it was a lot of fun.
Because it's sort of polite, in Japanese custom, not to refill your cup, not have an empty cup.
Sure, absolutely, that's part of it. And then the other part is that if you're a foreigner, they just really like giving you a lot of alcohol.
And why do you think that is?
I don't know. They just like trying to get foreigners drunk. I think that's part of. I mean, yeah.
Cool.
Will happen.
Well, I would love to do something like that. I mean, don't forget that
Super
if you
cool.
are traveling around Japan, there are lots of experiences like this that you can actually search and do. They seem to be quite pricey though, sometimes.
Yeah.
So you're lucky that you can do it like locally. If you know people in Japan, then even better. Whoever.
Hey, and I mean the other thing is that if you travel around the countryside, you might just run across something like this, and if you ask someone, I'm sure they would let you participate. Absolutely.
No, definitely. I think the Japanese hospitality is top notch. Definitely top notch.
Whoever's is it part of their hospitality getting a tourist drunk? I guess so.
Probably. But I mean, I have been traveling around Japan, and I have, had not experiences to this extent, but I have been offered to join into different things, or to try food, or to try a drink or whatever, I think Japanese people, they are very proud of their country and they want to show off their country. And when when foreigners are there, they want to sort of like, try this. Try this. Join in.
The hospitality is amazing. Like I traveled around Tohoku with two of my friends in late October, early November last year. And we went to this place called Hachinohe, which is like in the northern part of Honshu. And if you watch Abroad in Japan, I think you made a video about the place. They have a yatai mura, which is like a night food stall market area kind of thing, where you have little booths, right? And we just went from place to place, and people were super happy to chat with us. And in one place, they, some young guys were super happy to see us in there, and they bought us this fish, just because, it's incredible.
I mean, one of my experiences is that I don't. Surprising. This is a little bit of a surprising fact about me, is that I don't really like that much fish. I don't really eat a lot of fish. I'm a meat. I love eating
Same here.
Beef and that sort of thing. I'm not really a fishy sort of person, and I live in the south of the Iberian Peninsula, where arguably you could get some of the best fresh fish. And every time I go to a restaurant, there's like incredible fish selection and everything's amazing, but I just don't really eat fish. I will eat things like squids, fried squids. I'll eat things like octopus. I'll eat things like prawns, sort of thing. But I don't really like white fish. Well,
hey, it's very similar for me. Yeah. I like sushi. I like sashimi. So raw fish for me is really.
I'm the same.
I like it. But cooked fish, not a big.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because for me, it's about the texture of the fish. I'm not a fan of the texture of the flaky cooked texture of the fish. Whilst having a sashimi raw fish, I can do. There's no problem, especially with wasabi. That basically kills the flavor. Wasabi. Anyway, I love wasabi also. Fan. But what I was saying was that I've been to Japan, and sometimes Japanese don't take a no for an answer. And the amount of times that they've forced me to eat fish, like even in that matsuri thingy where I was carrying the thing, I had no hands basically. Next thing I know, this old woman comes with a fish stick and shoves it at my mouth, and it was nothing I could do about it. I was carrying the omikoshi with a piece of fish in my mouth, and it would have been rude, not to eat it.
Exactly, yeah. That's gonna happen. Yeah, same in Hachinohe. My buddy and I were like, a little bit struggling to eat this fish because it was a big piece of fish with like all the bones still in there, and it was as fishy as it can get. But it was still okay because I actually served it with some grated daikon radish and some soy sauce. So it was okay, but still it was very fishy. And for me, it was like, okay, don't want to be rude, want to be nice, because it was such a nice gesture from them.
Have you traveled to Hiroshima?
Yes. Yeah, I went there with my buddies in 2016. Yeah.
I don't like fish sticks. This is what I was saying. I don't like fish sticks or fish cakes, because that's what it was. Basically a fish cake that was on a stick that was shoved into my mouth, and on top of it, it was like the worst thing ever. I hope this woman isn't watching this stream. Because it was, not only was it like a fish cake on a stick, but it was a fish cake on a stick that was soggy because basically people were throwing water, like during the matsuri. So it was like it was like,
oh no,
you would bite it and it would be like juices. It was just not for me.
I can imagine.
But I was gonna ask you. I was watching a TV show yesterday on Channel 4, which is a British TV channel, and there's this person traveling around Japan. It's a food program, and one of the things that came up was Hiroshima style okonomiyaki.
Ah, yes.
Have you eaten Hiroshima style okonomiyaki?
I'm not even sure. Despite living in the Kansai area for such a long time, I haven't even had Osaka style okonomiyaki that often, maybe a handful of times, and all right. I'm not sure about Hiroshima one. I'm not sure if I've had it. shame, really.
Basically, for those of you who don't know what okonomiyaki is, can you describe okonomiyaki? I hate soggy fish sticks also.
Okonomiyaki. Oh yeah, so for whoever, the hamburger in Hiroshima was amazing, wasn't it? Yeah. Anyway, so okonomiyaki is like the pancake of Japan, right? Isn't it? So it's so I think the Hiroshima one has like a noodle base, and then the Osaka one has like a cabbage base, I think.
I think they both have cabbage. The only difference
they both have some cabbage, yeah.
Yeah. Basically, it's like a pancake on a grill with cabbage and whatever seafood or some form of pork, and then they put some okonomiyaki sauce. But I have for like years always been like a Hiroshima style okonomiyaki person.
Yes.
And I've always been like, oh, Hiroshima style okonomiyaki is the best type of okonomiyaki, until I went to Osaka over New Year's this time round. And I changed my mind, and now I'm an Osaka okonomiyaki person. Yeah.
All right. You like takoyaki?
I don't mind takoyaki, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite thing either. It's takoyaki is basically octopus balls, like balls of batter with pieces of octopus. You can have some really good takoyaki where the octopus is nice and soft, but I've also had some really chewy octopus takoyaki, and it just it's a little bit too chewy.
So what we do is, like, you can buy the takoyaki, like the machine, the oven, or the hot plate. You can buy it for super cheap here in Japan, and we just have our own takoyaki parties every now and then, at someone's house. And the cool thing is, you can put in there whatever you want. So we'll make some, traditional ones with octopus. You can make some with like sausage and cheese. Anything goes, right? And it's so delicious.
Yeah, of course,
I think it's a good idea. Or, if you want to bring one of those machines back, they're so cheap. Like if you go to Nitori, which is like the Japanese IKEA, you can buy one for I think 1,500 yen.
Yeah.
And if the power conversion thing works, if that works, then I think it's a good little thing to take home.
I know that people also they use like a pop cake machine to make takoyaki.
A pop cake?
Like these pop. I think it's called like a pop cake.
Cake pops.
Cake pops, no? Cake pops.
Ah, okay.
Well, I know, but I've seen it on YouTube, where basically you can buy a cake pop machine where it will make the cake circles, and I know that people use that to make the takoyaki in the West, so you don't even need to buy a takoyaki machine. You can just use one of those.
But I don't know how the cake pop machines work, but one of the most fun things about making takoyaki is that you get the little stick and you can flip them around.
Bye, Andy. It's sleepy time. I mean, yeah.
Bye, Andy. Good night.
Good night. Oyasumi masai. But yeah. I mean, food. That's a whole other vlog topic thing.
Let's talk about beer. Beer. What's your favorite Japanese beer?
I have to say that I'm a Sapporo fan.
Same here.
I think I'm a Sapporo fan. I'm actually gonna put you on the main screen whilst I change the battery in my camera, which is gonna die any moment now.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Can you talk about beer for like a minute? I should have like a countdown challenge. Like, this is a countdown challenge. Talk about beer, Japanese beer, for about a minute.
Sure. Yeah, of course. So whoever is saying that he likes Ebis, so Ebis is good, but for me, it's not too strong. But I like, if I drink a few beers in a night, I like the ones that are a bit lighter. And I've actually bought quite a selection tonight that we're gonna try and go through maybe. So right now I'm drinking Asahi, which is another one of my favorites. I like Asahi a lot, but my favorite one by far is Sapporo. And before we started, at the beginning, I had so this is almost like an abomination of a beer, actually. It's a Kirin, if you can see it, Nodogoshi Nama, which is like not even really a real beer. I don't know exactly what they take out of it, but it's super cheap. Like it's not technically a beer, so they don't have to pay the beer tax, which means that this can is only 100 something yen, so it's like half the price of an actual beer. And the taste is okay, but I just wanted to try one because I haven't had one in a long time. Yeah, which beer is giving the best voice for karaoke? That depends on the place.
You did really well there. I think you succeeded in the challenge. I managed
Thanks.
to change the battery, and you spoke about.
Good.
You were talking about beer and Sapporo, and I think that sometimes you sort of you associate something with an experience, right?
Sure.
And I think for me, the thing with Sapporo is that when I went to Hokkaido, I went to Sapporo, the city, and I went to Sapporo Beer Museum, and the place just blew me away. There is a vlog that you can watch. You can see that if you are interested later.
Yep.
But it just blew me away because they sat me down in this sort of like auditorium, and they showed a giant. There was a giant screen, and they basically showed like the history of Sapporo beer, and basically it was incredible. It was like a really, really well put together film. Also, it was really interesting. But then on top of it, the film ended, and all of a sudden, the room, the screen opened up. Right? And it was like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but for beer. Seriously. It was incredible. Like it just opened up, and there was this giant like brass like beer canister behind.
Yeah.
And you actually start walking through the museum tour. The tour of the Sapporo factory actually starts there after the movie.
Yeah.
And it was just like such a incredibly only in Japan sort of moment.
Totally, yeah. I can imagine. Was it also for free?
No, I had to pay. I did have to pay. But I can't remember how much I paid. But however, you do get like a tasting sort of thing at the end of the tour, which was pretty cool because the tasting menu, they give you like 3 or 4 different ales to try.
Yes.
And obviously because it's Japan, you're gonna have your own like specialist person explaining the different ales. But not only do they explain the different ales, but they also explain how to pour the ale, which was really bizarre because we got a lesson on how to pour like from a can and how to pour from a bottle.
They're very specific about that, aren't they?
Yeah, like super, like really specific. So that was pretty cool, and there was actually a lady that was next to me in Sapporo that we did the tour sort of together, but we didn't know each other. She was Japanese, and in Naka of Hokkaido, which is like sort of place in Japan, right? Hokkaido, like I talked about like a 2 or 3.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and we just looked at each other and we just started laughing because neither of us could actually believe it. So.
Oh, apparently there's some mic problems. All right. Okay, sure. Yeah. So speaking of like beer experiences like that, with my buddy who is in the chat right now, him and I went to a beer tour in Sendai. We went to the Kirin factory. And the cool thing there is that you can go for free. Like you just like sign up online, like do the reservation online, and then you can go on a tour of the Kirin brewery. And they have them all over Japan. And we went to the one in Sendai. You also get like a tour. Oh, is it working?
I'll fix. I think it's working now. Yeah.
Okay, sure. And when we went, there was only the 2 of us, so we got a big private tour. and then we got some beer at the end to try. 3 different beers. We had the Kirin Ichiban Shibori, the standard one. Then we had this one, the 2019 limited Toretate Hop beer, which was my favorite one, and the black one. All for free, completely for free, which is amazing. So if you're in Japan and you have like an afternoon where you're not sure what to do, then just go to one of those Kirin beer tours for free. Interesting to learn about the beer, interesting to see the facilities. Super Japanese experience because the tour guides are like so nice and polite.
I just restarted the thing.
And you get some free beer. Okay, sure.
Can you hear me, guys? Slap your tanuki microphone, Nathan. Pa, pa, pa. But yeah, definitely. I'm a big Japanese beer fan, to be honest. Huge Japanese beer fan. I could tell you straight up that I don't like American beers. Sorry, you guys that live in the States, but you guys drink like sort of tap water with a little bit of a beer flavor to it, in my opinion. Although, then I can just see people unsubbing now all of a sudden, right? Then I would probably I prefer Japanese beer to European beers. Japan also sort of like gone down the, what do you call it, the microbreweries sort of like routes.
Yeah, you'll find a lot of those now, like craft beers all over the place.
Craft beers,
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, I
but
know
they're just so expensive.
Sort of happening here too, also. But in Japan, you get some really good craft beer also. But they're super light. They are. I mean, yeah, it's like a beer for kids, but not for
by
kids,
the way,
obviously.
People, just FYI, this one I showed earlier, it's just a souvenir that we got there. It's just like a piggy bank.
Can you imagine if you had to drink through that thing?
Yeah. Try.
I mean,
those tours, highly recommended. Absolutely, you have to go.
Heineken.
If you like beer, you got it. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get another one. All right. Well, let's ask some people in chat. Which one should I get? I still have Sapporo, I have Kirin, and I have Suntory Premium Malts. Which one should I get?
Should Nick get? Come on, guys. Don't make us wait in awkward silence.
Yeah.
Because. So what were the 3 options? Say it again.
Okay, Kirin, the Kirin Ichiban Shibori, the best Kirin one they have, the Suntory Premium Malts, and the Sapporo.
Kirin because I don't like beer, but I like the mythological creature.
So we got 2 votes for Kirin. I guess that's probably going to be Kirin then, no?
Okay, so you go for your beer, and I'll have the 1 minute challenge of entertaining people. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget to give this video a like if you haven't already, because why not, right? And if you're new to the channel, you can always subscribe. And yeah. So yeah, Japan beer is sort of slightly different. I don't think it's necessarily better. I think it's just that because it's from Japan, psychologically it feels better, don't you think? Do you guys get like Japanese beer where you're from? Because I bought myself a bottle of Asahi, which is the only thing that I could find. Where are you? There. Asahi beer. And I actually got it from a takeout that I got. It was in the menu, Wagamama's, for those of you who have Wagamama's where you live, and they had Asahi in the option. They usually have also Sapporo, and I usually go for Sapporo, but for some reason this time round they didn't have Sapporo, so I was a little bit disappointed. But I have to say that it was incredibly expensive. I think this bottle of beer takeout cost me maybe, I don't know, £4 something, £3 something, £4, around £4. So yeah, sort of expensive. Now alcohol can be quite cheap in Japan, can't it, from a convenience store?
Okay, I'm back.
Don't you think, Nick?
What?
That alcohol can be quite cheap from a convenience store in Japan?
Depends on what you buy. and like what you compare it to. Like for example, beer in like this, standard beer in Japan is like 220 something yen, which compared to in Switzerland where I'm from, that's quite expensive for a small beer. But if you were to buy like Chuhai or like these Nodogoshi, they're super cheap.
But if you compare that to beer, buying beer in an izakaya, for example, it's half the price,
sure,
literally.
Sure.
No,
or
like
of course,
going to the hub or to some kind of a bar in Japan, no?
Yeah, hubs and like Irish pubs, they're quite expensive. Absolutely.
They are.
If you know like like a local izakaya that those you usually get good prices. Like my favorite one in Kyoto, you get a big bottle of Sapporo. It has like 600 milliliters. It's like I think 600 yen. Or maybe 800.
Actually,
but even 800 is a good price.
Arash, maybe you said it earlier on. Where are you at? You say once they allow us to drink again here. So I'm curious. Where are you at? Because I guess we can drink at home. We can have some like sort of like video parties with one another, that sort of thing. Jeremy doesn't like that much alcoholic drinks, to be honest. I like cider and anise. Anise is have you ever had anise, Nick?
Oh yes, I like it.
You have? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Normally people don't know what I'm talking about.
I know, a lot. Yeah, I really like it actually a lot.
Have you been to this part of the world where I am before?
No, the closest I've been was Madrid.
Okay. I mean,
that's it. Yeah.
It's not too bad considering you can get a train, probably a 3.5 hour train.
Okay.
To Madrid. Probably a 5 hour drive, something like that, 5 or 6 hour drive.
Yeah.
I would say to Madrid.
That's not too far. Yeah.
So it's not too far. We have whoever is joining with beer.
Oh, nice.
Nice. So yeah, so what areas in Japan have you actually traveled to, Nick?
What areas?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've technically been to every like major part. Like so, for example, I've been to Kyushu, I've been to Tohoku, I've been to Hokkaido, I've been to Kansai. But I still have so much to see, right? I mean, last fall we spent 2.5 weeks traveling around Tohoku. That was really cool. Got to see a lot of that, but I mean, it's such a big area.
That's supposed to be my trip in the summer.
Oh, really? In July? Okay.
Doing Tohoku.
Yeah.
Actually, my trip is supposed to be Tokyo for 3 or 4 days, and then I'm supposed to be going to Singapore for 5 days, and then I'm supposed to be in Bali for 2 weeks before I head back to Tohoku for like 2 weeks.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
So that was.
Man, I really hope that works out for you.
Well, the important thing is safety, and
sure.
That's what I tell myself.
You know what's interesting? That Iwate Prefecture is one of the Tohoku prefectures.
Panama,
still has 0 cases. Yeah. There's no case of the COVID in Iwate, which is kind of interesting.
Sorry, can you repeat that? I was reading Arash's comment, and he says that he's in Panama, or she's in Panama, and that it's
I see. Non-essential. Oh, that's interesting.
That it's so interesting how different countries are dealing with this, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, what define essential? You know what I mean? Like, what is essential? Like, people have different needs. Of course, there's some stuff that are obviously essential, but I guess you could argue that alcohol is not essential.
I guess it's not essential. No, I mean, it is an essential. Really, you don't need to. You can't. You don't live off alcohol. Actually, I'm gonna get myself my last bottle.
Sure.
Whilst you can, I'm gonna give you a topic. Let's see, what topic am I gonna give?
Give me a topic, Nick. Something to talk about.
Talk to us about. Are you tired, Nick?
No, it's fine. I just have to, the bright lights set up. So, like,
talk to us about. Let's see. Traveling solo versus traveling with someone or a group, because that's a really interesting topic that I can pick up when I come back.
Sure. Yeah. So I like doing both. I haven't traveled by myself recently. I did it a little bit more, a couple of years ago maybe. I really like both. One of my friends is in the chat that I travel with once a year. We go somewhere for a couple of weeks every year. And obviously, if you travel with other people, there's always something happening. You always have something to do. It's fun to do things together. It's really awesome to share, experiences. Sometimes when you travel by yourself, you go somewhere and it's really cool. You kind of want to share it with people, but there's no one else to share it with. But at the same time, for me, going to like an onsen town or something by myself, I love doing that too. So,
it's good. Sorry, let me get the microphone before people complain that they can't hear me. I would have to completely agree with you that there are certain places that are just made for solo travel. I mean, not saying that going to an onsen with somebody else wouldn't be awesome, but you can easily go to an onsen and enjoy it by yourself. Being by yourself in those sort of places, definitely. I mean,
for sure.
I think the main thing that I would say to anybody is don't let traveling by yourself stop you from traveling.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got people, I'd probably always choose traveling with people if I have the choice between traveling by myself and traveling with people. But
same here.
But at the end of the day, if I want to go somewhere and nobody wants to go to that place, I'll just go.
Yeah. And I mean, traveling alone is not for everyone, because the last big solo trip I did was, Japan, 2 weeks Japan in 2015. That was my last big solo trip that was, 2 weeks long time ago. And I made a lot of videos for my YouTube channel during that time, which kept me busy. I had things to do.
That's it. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And if without that, I think I don't think I would have enjoyed it all that much. I think I would have gotten quite lonely, But making the videos really kept me busy and gave me something to do. So, it's not for everyone, but still, for a 2, 3, 4 day trip, I would totally go by myself. I think that's, no problem,
I mean, I've traveled in a big group of, I think it was 13 people before around Japan, and it was loads of fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't enjoy big group tours or anything like that. That's not my thing. Whoever is saying, I really like both ways, and if you travel alone, you can make some really intense encounters. That's true. If you travel by yourself, you just meet people, right? It's because you're by yourself, you kind of want some interaction, so you end up meeting people all the time, and
actually,
get some good memories.
One of the guests that I'm hoping to get on here in the future is I think 2-3 years ago they did a Miss International in Japan. It goes from country to country, and one of my friends was the representative for Mrs. International, and she traveled to Japan for I think a month. And
nice.
The tour thing was maybe, the actual pageant was actually maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, but she spent an extra month after, basically traveling on her own. So she was a beautiful girl traveling around Japan by herself. So it'll be quite interesting that I can get her on board to tell me about her experiences. But I know that when I have spoken to her, she told me that she's been in train stations before and she's missed the last train, and they've literally opened a train for her to sleep in.
Oh wow!
in super inaka, super quiet, and that people have invited her into her house and given her a floor or whatever, So
that's really cool. Yeah.
When you travel by yourself, you're gonna get more of those connections with people. I think that especially in Japan, sometimes Japanese people shy from talking to you if you're with somebody else.
Yeah, I think so too.
If you're talking in English with someone, then the likelihood is that somebody is not going to talk to you because you're entertaining yourself. But if you're sitting down by yourself, I think Japanese a Japanese person would approach you or ask a question, for sure.
Every time, and if you speak a little bit of Japanese, even more so, right? I mean, every time I'm somewhere by myself, I haven't gone out in a long time now, obviously, but if I go to like a bar, have a beer or something, I always end up meeting people, talking to people here. If you speak Japanese, even just a little bit, I think, for sure, yeah.
And one of the things that I do, and maybe it's a little bit of a tip, is I actually carry, I don't even have any here, I actually carry with me some postcards in my bag anywhere that I go from where I live, from Gibraltar. And when I go to an izakaya, and I order a few drinks or whatever, I'll then offer them my postcard as a omiyage, as a gift, and that automatically opens up so many conversations, because they want to know where Gibraltar is, they want to know what I'm doing in Japan, they're super thankful that I'm giving them this, so big tip.
And I actually think that's a really cool idea, and I'm sure people are super excited when they get one. Super
it opens up a whole world, even in the train, when you're sitting next to someone in the train in a Shinkansen for 2 hours. I don't know if it's just my character, because we're here from the south of Europe, and we're all very chatty and sort of can't keep our mouths shut. I always need to talk to someone, so I offer them a postcard, and there we go. That's the conversation for the next 45 minutes. They usually bring out their phones, Google Maps, and so it's definitely
that's a really good idea. Actually, I wanted to ask you, since you sometimes travel alone, but I think from watching your videos and stuff, you tend to stay in hotels, and a lot of people that travel alone, they stay in hostels, right?
Yeah.
And so that's another thing to keep in mind, is that if you stay in a hostel, it's even easier to meet people and do something with other people. How is that for you, being in hotels?
I think I stay in hotels because I feel I usually stay. I try to have a sort of a budget per night, and I try to keep to that. And I think that if you do sort of look around, you can find, especially if you plan in advance, you can find some relatively cheap hotels, especially the business hotels, like the APAs and that sort of thing. So there's no problem with that. Although I understand that staying in a hostel has its advantages, that there's going to be other people, other travelers like you that are on their own, and that is an advantage. However, I do feel that the big advantage about traveling and staying in a business hotel is the safety of your stuff, because although I do trust I trust Japanese people, I don't necessarily trust another foreign tourist who might be staying one night in a hostel. So when I do, that's something that you need to consider also.
Sure.
I recently also found an app called Meetup.
Oh yes, I have it installed. Yeah, I have never. I never went to one, but I have it installed. I check it every now and then. Yeah. They have a lot of meetup events in Japan. I just look for here on Kyoto, but they have a ton.
Yeah. I mean, I've only used it twice. Once in Japan, and it was a total not the best experience, because nobody turned up to the meetup, even though it said that there was going to be 200 people.
Yeah.
That's Kyoto, actually. So that one didn't work out.
We got a question from whoever.
Question, go for it.
Yeah. Is there a hidden spot in Kyoto which you would recommend for tourists? For example, if you want to have a quiet moment for yourself. In Kyoto, a hidden spot. I don't have a specific spot in mind, but one of the nice things about Kyoto is the history, and just the fact that Kyoto is a lot of Kyoto is still the way it used to be back in the day. During World War II, Kyoto was one of the few cities that was not destroyed, right? So you do have a lot of temples all over the place. And if you want a quiet place for yourself, there are so many temples that are not frequented by any tourists, and you can just chill out there a bit. Yeah, or even just the Kamogawa River. I mean, there's people on the Kamogawa River, hanging out. But if you keep going north along the river, you find some really nice places.
I know that the Philosopher's Path has sort of become a little bit more popular now in the last couple of years.
Well, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's usually overrun with people. And I saw one of my professors was posting on Facebook that right now it's actually, it's empty right now. So I think right now would be a good time to go, I guess. Yeah, if going outside is a good idea.
Actually, also to answer that question, for whoever, it's not just where, it's also to do with the time that you go. So if you want to have some sort of like a hidden spot, you might be able to find more of a hidden spot if you are willing to leave a little bit earlier in the morning or later on in the afternoon when people have sort of stopped with their tours. My experience.
I guess if I had to give you like one specific spot that I would recommend that is not so busy, is Daimonji-yama, which Daimonji is like one of the mountains here in Kyoto that has like like part of the mountain they like cut all the trees, and once a year or twice a year they light the mountain on fire basically with a big kanji, and you can hike up. You can hike up there and you get the most amazing view over Kyoto, and there's not that many people that go. And it's very convenient to go to as well, because you can, if you go to the Ginkakuji, not the Kinkakuji, Ginkakuji, the silver one, right? So the Kinkakuji is the golden, and the silver one on the eastern side of Kyoto, Ginkakuji. The entrance to the trail is just there, so you can go to the Ginkakuji and then walk up to Daimonji-yama. And there are some people there for sure, but not many. And the view is incredible. Like the view over Kyoto is the best view I've ever seen over Kyoto.
I guess another place, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but another place you can go, surprisingly, is Fushimi Inari, but actually carrying on further up, where tourists sort of like stop going, because tourists sort of arrive, they get to the halfway point, and then they turn back. So if you just carry on walking, I've always experienced that it's sort of quite quiet and spiritual.
Yep. And I actually think maybe whoever in chat he sent me a link once about like a hidden path at Fushimi Inari, where you just go to the normal place, and then instead of keep going the normal way, you just make a right turn or left turn somewhere, and you end up in this super secluded place that is it's kind of like the Arashiyama bamboo forest, but like just a little different, and no one goes there. So apparently they have a thing there. Yeah,
I haven't been, but I know exactly where he's talking about, because I've seen other vloggers and other people and other travelers sort of mention these sort of like hidden bamboo forests in. Sorry?
Yeah, I assume it's more popular now, right? Once one of those posts is online or hidden spots, it's not so hidden anymore.
I actually went to what's the name of the place? I've forgotten the name. The name of the place where green tea is like super famous in Kyoto. Uji. I went to Uji.
Yeah.
Now in December, in January, the beginning of January.
Yeah.
And I probably got the coldest day I have ever experienced in Japan.
Yeah.
Where my fingers were like frozen and I couldn't even hold my camera, and I decided, screw this, I'm not gonna vlog this, because I just can't handle the cold.
It can get pretty cold here, yeah.
It can, huh?
Oh, did you know? I guess probably you knew because you went there, but maybe some people don't know. If you go to Uji, there is a temple there called Byodo-in, and that's the temple that's on the 10 yen coin, the Japanese 10 yen coin. There's a temple.
I went.
That's the
where I went.
Yeah.
And there's some kind of I walked around that temple. I think you could go inside, but you had to get a special ticket and wait and line up. And I was like, no, it's too cold.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go inside. I'm just gonna walk around.
Japan. It like, because it's the country in general is more humid than a lot of countries. So even in the winter, the temperatures might not be that cold, but it's still a little bit humid. So that the coldness just goes right through your clothes, and it's just.
I think we have that. I think we have that sort of problem here, where it's even though it might be 10 degrees.
Yeah.
It's like 10 degrees, but it's 10 degrees in your bones.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, because of the.
Because in Switzerland, where I'm from, it's cold. It gets cold, but it's like it's like a dry, cold winter. It's not so bad actually. Yeah.
But in that place, in Uji, I noticed how touristy it was.
I've never been to Uji actually. I've never been.
No.
Nope.
You should do. Well, I was gonna say you should do it, but you're in lockdown.
Yeah.
But it's like I got off the train because it's actually very convenient if you want to go if you're staying in Osaka, because it's sort of in between Osaka and Kyoto.
Right. Yes.
If I remember right, on the train. So it's a perfect sort of little day trip or half day trip to go from Osaka. And I got off the train and everything was green tea.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
There were loads of stalls and they were selling like green matcha udon and matcha gyoza and matcha ramen and matcha ice cream. Yeah, and everything was matcha, and it was just a little bit crazy, to be honest.
I can imagine,
like super, very, very, very like aimed at tourists.
Of course.
Saying that, I went to a Starbucks that was there because I love Japanese Starbucks, I have to say, and I had a matcha scone.
Oh yes, I know. Yeah, the matcha scone, right, with the white chocolate chip. Yep.
Oh, it's so good. It was so good.
Yeah, that's another thing right now. All Starbucks are closed. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. And restaurants in general. Like restaurants are open. A lot of restaurants are closed even during the day. Some are still open, but then at night everything closes. Yeah.
In Switzerland, you have good heating and well-isolated buildings.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, yeah, we can talk about that a little bit. Actually, it's Japanese apartments. So my apartment in the winter gets crazy cold. I have one AC. It's just a standard AC you have in Japan, and I use it to heat in the winter and to cool in the summer. And
just a reminder that Nick is in Kyoto right now. For anybody who's joining us in the stream now, yes. He's actually in Kyoto. So if you have any questions for him about what's going on in Kyoto or any Kyoto Japan related stuff, you can just write it down there. Yeah.
Yeah, so the windows here are just not very good, very well insulated. So it gets so cold inside during the winter. It's crazy. Oh my god. Yeah.
I think we have the same sort of in Gibraltar where I am. I think everything is built for the heat.
Yeah, same here, right?
Like homes are mainly like cooler in the summer. But then in the winter, there's no radiators, there's no central heating, nothing. Not that it gets cold, but you can have like a cold snap every now and then. You might have a cold snap where it goes down to 2 or 3 degrees.
Yeah.
And
actually, that's one of the interesting things we observed in Tohoku is that the architecture changed. And maybe you saw the same thing in Hokkaido, but we saw a lot more like. Normally a Japanese house normally has a pretty standard roof, whatever. But in Tohoku, there were a lot of like slanted roofs, like built in a very specific way because of the snow weight. Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting because I had never seen that before.
Yeah, I mean, my friend who lives in Tokushima in Shikoku. No, in Shikoku. Yeah,
sorry?
In Shikoku. Tokushima is in Shikoku, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it is. I think so. My friend that lives
in Shikoku. I've never been to Shikoku. I gotta go there.
Oh, it's nice. Definitely nice. Have you been to Onomichi? No, because it's one of the places that I just recently discovered, which I absolutely loved because it sort of felt like this untouched by tourists sort of location in Japan that every now and then you find. I mean, I went to one place that you've been. I know you've been multiple times, and I know that you've taken your friends. Is Koyasan.
Yes, I love Koyasan. It's one of my favorite places in the Kansai area. It's so beautiful. It's just breathtaking.
I do love Koyasan. However, don't you think that it's becoming more and more popular?
Oh, I've only been a couple times. I've only been two times or three times. I don't know, but like there's a lot of people, but it's very popular among Japanese tourists too, right? So I don't know if it's become more popular in general, but I think it's still worth going for sure. I mean, there's a lot of people, but totally worth going. It's an amazing place.
Have you stayed there?
Once, one of the two times we stayed there. Yeah. Stayed
it's
in the
worth
temple.
Staying up there also, especially. I mean, my favorite thing from Koyasan is the cemetery at night.
Yeah. It's super spooky at night, but
you can't.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You don't get that experience. You can't do the graveyard unless you stay the night, right?
That's right. Yeah, the buddy of mine who is in chat right now, we went there for a day trip because he was staying in Kyoto at the time and we didn't have time to go there for a night, and we had to come back quite early. Like the last train leaves pretty early, so if you want to go to the graveyard at night, you have to stay for the night, unless you have a car and you're free to do whatever, right?
I mean, have you driven in Japan, Nick?
I have now. Yeah, I just got my license back in November. Yeah, I finally have my Japanese driver's license. Hooray! And I've driven 2 times so far. Yeah.
Cool. So now I have the person that can drive me around when I'm there.
Sure. Yeah, and I actually quite liked it. It's a lot of fun. You know, the first time I drove, this was back in early March. We rented a car with, it's 4 of us, so 3 friends and me. And we drove up to Amano Hashidate, which is like one of the super famous places in Japan. It's also in Kyoto Prefecture. I don't know, do you know Amano Hashidate?
Can you describe it to me? Maybe I know.
So Amano Hashidate is, it's famous because it's this like bay that has like a land, like a natural land bridge.
I know,
and it's one of the, let's say, it's one of the 3 sightsee beautiful spots of Japan. They call it the Nihon Sanke, which is the 3 famous spots, right? So that's Matsushima, Amano Hashidate, and Miyajima in Hiroshima.
Yeah. I've been to 2 of the 3 then.
Yes, Matsushima was amazing, right? And then, so we went there, stayed the night, and then the next day we just drove around, just kind of like randomly drove around through the mountains. And driving through the mountains, countryside in Japan, I loved it. It was so much fun, and we just saw some beautiful places randomly, right? I mean, I would have never ended up there had it not been for just a random car trip. So I love driving here.
I think that, you see, I agree with you. I think I mean one side of the whole thing is that Japan has incredibly good public transport, and that you can pretty much travel all around Japan without a car. And if you plan ahead very, very, very well, you can even figure out the bus routes, and you can get to some places that you might think that you might not be able to on bus. However, having a car will save you so much time and give you so much more time to explore these places.
I will say that, you're absolutely right. Like, public transportation here is amazing. However, when we were in Tohoku, I hadn't had my driver's license yet, and there are certainly places there that require you to have a car to really enjoy them. So Tohoku, it would have been really nice to have a car for sure.
I've got my
and the other thing is that it can get quite expensive driving. Like, renting a car for one day, if you get a good deal, it's about 6,000 yen for a day. If you get a good deal, usually it's 8,000 is maybe a better estimation. And then the tolls, the highway tolls, they can really add up,
Yeah. I went to, Moto Inari Shrine.
No.
It's like this, it's in like near Hagi, that sort of coastline. Shugoku Shio. not Shigoku Shio, I think it's called, the area of Japan. But this shrine I really wanted to go to, and I calculated how much it was going to cost to rent a car.
Yeah.
And then I calculated how much it was going to cost to use my JR pass and then use a taxi for the last leg of the trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was about the same price or slightly cheaper to get a taxi. So that's basically what I did.
Yeah.
Because I've never driven in Japan. I drive on the other side of the road over here, like Switzerland. I guess it's the same. So how do you find driving on that side of the road, though?
It was.
That's the thing that worries me, really.
I was a little bit scared. I'm not gonna lie. The first time driving, and we rented the car. The first time I drove here, we rented a car at downtown Kyoto, right at Kyoto Station. So starting there, I was a little bit nervous, going into the roads. But it's actually not a problem at all. It's the only thing that felt weird the entire time is making a turn. You make a turn, you have to remember to go into the left lane. But if you're driving, it's really not a big deal at all. It's totally.
With other Japanese people, or did you drive with family members?
No, Japanese friends.
Okay, because that helps, I think. I think because
they were scared of me though.
Yeah, because me by myself, I travel with my my international driver's license, just in case I ever need to hire a car, because I always sometimes think, if something happens and the only way that I can travel back somewhere is by rental car, then at least I have the international driver's license. However, I always feel like traveling, driving by myself, by car, it's kind of scary. I think that once I do it with someone, if I did it with somebody who knows the roads or somebody who's Japanese who can remind me, like stay to the left. Or tell me or read the signs a little bit better, then I think once I've done it a few times, I'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, having people in the car who knew what was going on helped for sure. But at the same time, drivers in Japan are very respectful in general. Not all of them, but most of them, I'd say, are very, very respectful. So, you don't have to worry too much. I think it's fine. And I recommend just go for it, give it a try, Now I wouldn't want to drive through Tokyo, for example. I think that's not fun. But out in the countryside,
I mean,
great.
Yeah, that's it. Countryside, I think definitely. Actually, one of the things that I wanted to touch upon, and maybe before we start ending the stream, is what can you talk a little bit about the transportation system of Kyoto, because Kyoto isn't really a train subway sort of city, is it?
Yeah, Kyoto is pretty crazy actually. Before I talk about that, actually, I think I'll get another beer because I finished my Kirin Ichiban Shibori.
I thought
I don't know. Do we still have people in the chat? Actually, there was a question from whoever. You talked about the closed restaurants. So do the people eat now more stuff from convenience stores? Actually, I go to convenience stores every now and then, and I don't think I see more people in there. Supermarkets, there's still a lot of people going to supermarkets, just like every day, or just like always. So I think just people eat at home more. But from my experience going into convenience stores, it does not appear to be more busy in there, I think. But yeah, if we still have people in the chat, maybe we can ask for. Well, there's a few people watching. Maybe people can write. People, yeah, maybe we'll give it a try.
You get yourself your beer.
Okay. And, I wanted to ask the chat for which beer they want to see.
Ooh.
But I don't know if people are gonna write.
What beers do you have left? Okay, guys. So Nick.
It's Asahi. Oh my God, it's Asahi. Do you know Asahi?
Oh my God, Asahi's live. I don't really know her, but
how's it going?
Don't forget,
she's awesome, by the way.
I do. You know what? I watch her stuff. I would love to have Asahi on my stream because her stuff is so cool. So hello.
Actually,
I'm in Gibraltar.
When I was in language school, we had a little project where we a few buddies of mine, we had to, well, all of our class, we had to do like a presentation about Kyoto Kigyo, which is like the Kyoto industry. And we had chosen, or my friends chose the Wakoru company, which is like a Japanese underwear company. So,
okay.
yeah, I know, right? So we were in the underwear company group. So we arranged an interview with people from the company. We went there. I filmed everything. And we went there, had an interview with a representative there, all in Japanese. It was really cool. It was a little bit awkward because it's a female underwear company and it was 3 guys. But,
wait a minute. How does Asahi come into this? How does Asahi come into this story? So, because you're talking about underwear right now. Right.
So I thought we need something more here. So I asked Asahi if she could do a little interview for us about people's opinion on Wakoru and the company and whatnot. So she sent us. We sent her some questions and she sent us a video with her response, and we used that in our presentation. We added that to our video, and that was super nice of her to do. Yeah.
Awesome. But I am subbed to her channel, and I've watched some of her stuff. And I know Tokyo Drew, which I know is a fan or a friend of Asahi also. So cool. It's nice to see her. Actually, maybe Asahi can tell you what beer you should drink.
Okay, well, I only have 2 left. I only have Sapporo and
the 2 options
Suntory premium malts left. So which one should I choose? Or anyone, and if there's other people in the chat, anyone, which should I drink? Sapporo or Suntory premium malts? Let's give it a few seconds, and otherwise I'll just go grab one.
Yeah, we had quite a few people about an hour ago. I mean, I'm new to this whole live streaming thing. If you haven't seen my videos, maybe you want to check them out, say hello, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool so far.
Yeah, it's been fun. I think the most important thing is always enjoy yourself, have fun, don't worry too much about
Okay, so Asagi is like, dochi mo ii ne, so she doesn't mind, and whoever's saying, I will go for Sapporo. Okay, Sapporo it is. Be right back.
Okay, so I'm gonna sort of like explain a little bit about myself. I'm Nathan. I live in Gibraltar in the very south tip of the Iberian Peninsula, which is basically Spain, and I speak English, I speak Spanish. I'm trying to learn Japanese, which is something that we haven't spoken about actually, and my headphones have stopped working all of a sudden, but it's something that we were going to talk about, what it's like studying Japanese, because I suck at it. So hopefully some of you could give me some tips.
Something happened to the audio, Nathan.
The audio? What do you mean?
I can hear like a video playing or some music.
Yeah, sorry, you can hear me. The thing is that I'm just gonna recharge my... You talk, Nick.
Okay. But it's fine for the stream?
It's fine for the stream.
Okay,
I'm just gonna put the my headphones to charge a little bit.
Asagi
hey, my stream looks cool.
OBS. OBS. And we actually sat together yesterday and went through, practiced everything, and his whatever he set up for the stream, it's crazy. I mean, I think you missed the beginning of the stream. If you go back, if you have time later, once the VOD is up, and rewatch the stream, in the beginning he has crazy stuff set up, like showing pictures and videos, and even a little game. So
yeah, I'll show you. I'll actually because I'll show you a few of little things. For example, I'm using OBS. You set up different scenes, and it takes quite a little bit of time to set things up. If you need any help, I'm more than happy to help you with that. So for example, I have things playing like this when we were talking about some different onsens earlier on, or this I could swap between, having some videos in the background, which is pretty cool. And then I had like a photo slide thing playing in the background, so it looks a little bit professional. One thing that I've noticed, Nick, is that people like it when we're talking about stuff with video or photos. Because
of course,
had most of the viewers.
Yeah, I mean, it helps.
It's normal, no?
It helps to visualize things for sure. Yeah.
But actually, I want to go back because this is amazing, in my opinion. This is.
Oh, wait!
Crazy.
You know what, Nathan? How about I reply to some questions, and if you can on the spot, I mean, I don't want to like put you on the spot, but maybe you can get some of the other pictures that I had, so we can see some other pictures from.
Okay, you can reply to the questions. Okay. Once I set up some of the other pictures that you had prepared. So go for it.
All right, so real quick, Asagi, first of all, thank you one more time for making that video for us. That was awesome of you. I hope you enjoyed the Kyobaum. Also, get in touch with Nathan about OBS. He told me how it works, and if you're interested, get in touch with him. He can teach you how all of this works. Pretty cool. All right, so Jeremy's saying I'm not good at learning languages. I tried learning Japanese for 3 years, and I was no good at it. Whoever's saying I tried to learn a few sentences, it really makes fun, but as long as I don't use it, yeah, I mean, totally. Like I never tried to learn Japanese like on my own. I've always been in a school environment, and that is obviously something that helps so much. I'm in general bad at motivating myself to do things, so I don't know if I could study Japanese by myself, and it's one of the reasons why I've been kind of neglecting it a bit for the past 2 years. But yeah, if I lived in Europe and tried to study by myself, I wouldn't even know what to do. So for me, being in the Japanese school environment has always been the most important part of learning the language, for sure. Yeah. And I know he always learns some phrases whenever we travel together. So he actually knows more Japanese than maybe he's willing to admit.
Who was that?
I think maybe. Yeah, my buddy in chat, whoever, he's been to Japan several times too, and he always learns some new things, and he knows more than he's willing to admit, I think.
Okay.
But I think he's similar to you in that, like, he likes to learn the language to travel,
Yeah, I'll talk about that anyway now. What it's like trying to learn Japanese and some of the processes that I do, but I'm actually going to make a little video about my experience trying to learn Japanese, even though I'm not great. So I'm just adding a directory of all the photos, and hopefully it will appear now.
Yeah. All right. Sapporo Kuroraberu.
Okay, so we've got some photos now, right?
Yes, there we go. Okay, so that's Sannenzaka. Sannenzaka is this is Higashiyama, right? So you have Ninenzaka,
this is what
Sannenzaka.
I asked before.
Yeah. Normally, this place is, full of people. You would never be able to take a picture like this at 1 p.m. It was crazy. A little bit further down the street is Ninenzaka. Ninenzaka is where they built the super famous Starbucks in Kyoto now. That's like inside is like, traditional Japanese with like tatami mats and stuff like that. I don't know. Have you been there to that Starbucks?
To the Starbucks, yeah. Actually, I tried to go in, but they have a very strict policy where you cannot hang around the area. Yeah. So unfortunately, the 2 or 3 times that I've never actually been able to sit in Starbucks.
Yeah, it's quite. There's like so many people, right? Yeah. But yeah, now it's closed anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Actually, a question: Asagi's life. Where is she right now? Do you know?
She lives in Tokyo or Yokohama.
That's what I wanted to say. I was gonna say Yokohama, but
I think Yokohama. Yeah, maybe she'll reply if she's still in chat. But yeah, she's been doing a lot of live streams. Yeah,
I think a lot of us have been doing a lot of live streams, and I know that this is a problem. We're all sort of competing for viewers, right? And we're all sort of doing the same sort of content, the same sort of topics.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can actually switch between the different.
Oh, okay. Oh, you moved back to Chiba. Okay, I see.
Okay.
How is it in Chiba right now? From what I've seen is that like pretty much all prefectures around Tokyo are equally or similarly affected by the current situation. Obviously, Tokyo itself is the the worst. I know for maybe people are wondering, Tokyo has by far the most cases in Japan. The second is Osaka. So that's actually one interesting thing is that.
No?
Yeah, it's been kind of stabilizing a little bit, which is good news. What I find interesting is that Osaka and Hyogo, which is Kobe, have quite a lot of cases, but then Kyoto is not so bad. But, Osaka, Kobe, Kyoto, it's like one big city. It's all connected, right? So it's interesting that Kyoto doesn't have that many cases. But anyways, in the picture right now, you're seeing Gion, the entrance to the Gion district in Kyoto. As you can see, mail is still being delivered, but there is like no people. Again, it's unbelievable. Yeah. This is like, you would never see Gion like this at this time of day.
I'm having to manually add the files. For some reason, the slideshow thing isn't working. But
sure.
This happens. It doesn't matter. I'm just looking for the photos and seeing what's sort of interesting to put up there. Yeah. But I mean, actually, this one is shocking. This next picture. I'm going to put now is crazy.
Oh, yeah, these streets?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is Shichodori leading up to Yasaka Shrine. That's at the end of the street. And, these streets, there's a lot of stores, a lot of tourist stores, souvenir kind of stores. Everything is closed. And as you can see, very, very few people. It's pretty nuts.
It is nuts.
I will say on this day, when this is still downtown, of course, but right here, because it's this kind of like a tourist area, very, very few people. But then if I was downtown earlier, a more central part of downtown, I had to go to the bank to do some stuff, and it was full of people. Like I had to wait in line, right? So
okay.
It's not like all of Kyoto is like this. It's specific areas are like this, especially the tourist areas. Yeah.
I mean, I'll put this photo because you can actually see that there's a few. There's a few more people. Has it popped up?
Which one?
There.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I mean, so it's not as if Kyoto is like a ghost town all of a sudden, because that's the way that we sort of like we're making it look as if Kyoto is like a ghost town, but it isn't, right?
Yeah, like this part of Kyoto. This is the Karasuma Shicho intersection, which is like one of the main intersections in Kyoto, and there's people walking around. Again, the banks were full of people, maybe because it was right before Golden Week, that had something to do with it. But yeah, people were there, lots of people in suits, they're working, and it's definitely less people, but there's still people. Like if you walk,
not just definitely less people, like a lot less people.
Yeah, if you had never been to Kyoto and you walked around in this area during this specific day, you wouldn't have thought anything was wrong. Except for the Starbucks being closed in some place, right? Stores being closed, but yeah. Once I got to the touristy places, that's when I was really surprised.
Like places like the malls and stuff, like the photos those are closed, I'm guessing, no?
Sorry?
Like these, like the malls. Like
these are closed. Yeah. Maybe I guess it's just cut off in the picture, but on the left side is the Disney store. Yeah, it's closed. Like all of this stuff is closed. Yeah. And this is the intersection of Kawaramachi, Shicho Kawaramachi, this is the biggest. This is like the Shibuya of Kyoto.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Let's see if I can pop up another. I'm just gonna find one more picture.
Some people they're talking about the Olympics. Yeah, so the Olympics have been postponed until next year. I mean, obviously it's the right decision. I think it took a little bit long to come up with that decision, but we'll see. It's kind of like in Japan they say shoganai. It's like it can't be helped. What are you gonna do? So I think they're just trying to do the best they can right now to have a good.
I would love to walk down these streets right now. So empty.
Oh, okay.
No one.
Yeah, so this is called Nene no Michi, and Nene was like the wife of an emperor or something like that. I'm not sure, but yeah, same here. Again, I mean, it's kind of like repeating the same thing over again, but it's just this is one of those streets where you normally never see. You would never see them
in Chiba. Actually, my what I'm wondering, what is it like in Chiba? But
yeah.
I know that Tokyo Disney is closed. Probably one of the first things that closed down.
That's right. Yeah, they closed early.
I'm just wondering how it's affected.
Really
They were like one of the first things, really.
Yeah.
I think. I'm just wondering if Asahi is still in the chat. I'm just really wondering what sort of effects having Disney closed has had on the city. But it's a pretty big thing, no? Disney for cheap.
Oh yeah, huge. I mean, they've been closed for a long time now. Yeah.
But whilst let's quickly move on to probably the last thing we're going to talk about, which is studying Japanese.
Oh, can I just real quick mention one more thing about the Olympics, because people are talking about it.
You can talk whatever you want.
From what I've heard, by the way, but I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but apparently they're keeping all of the branding and merchandise as Tokyo 2020.
Yeah, that is true. Right? That is fact.
Which I think is kind of an interesting decision.
It's too dark. Yeah.
Like, obviously, it would be crazy to do everything for 2021, like change everything, but it's going to be kind of, weird, you get like maybe in 50 years from now, people will have like a Tokyo 2020 shirt and be like, hey, look, this is the weird one, I don't know. Yeah. I thought it was interesting. Yeah,
I heard people are actually going out and buying Tokyo 2020 merch because they think it's going to be worth something in the future.
Who knows, right? Who knows? Yeah.
Actually, I was reading an article this morning where they basically said that a lot of people actually saying that probably it might not actually happen, not even next year.
I don't know. I mean, you hear a lot of things. You really hear a lot of things these days.
Yeah.
So much information. I don't even know what to believe anymore. We'll see. Next year that's like 15 months
that
out, right? I mean,
15
can you
months. Imagine if they cancel the Tokyo 2021 or whatever. That merchandise would be worth something, huh?
Yeah, well, that would be crazy. Yeah. But I don't know, man. Like, it's so far out. We'll see. But I think next year should be okay. Probably. We'll see.
Hopefully. I want to get back to Japan.
I don't know.
So.
Good point. Japan was invested. Okay. Disneyland is performing their show online, so their performers still get paid. That's what that's kind of cool, actually. I think that's really
How
neat.
can we see the show online, Asai? How can we see it online? That would be that's quite crazy, really, I mean, they did also talk about like having the Olympics, but without anybody in the arenas. That would just be weird, huh?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, a big part of the money they make is from selling the tickets and all of that. And if they have no spectators, then it's like, poof, big hit. I don't know. We'll see. I think next year, that's a long time out. I think it should be okay. Oh. Oh, here we go. Okay, let's talk about learning Japanese.
I mean,
I guess
it's gonna be a little bit boring, maybe for some people. So this is why I thought we could end the stream. We've been streaming for nearly 2 hours and 40 minutes now.
Do it at the end. But I'm sure there's also people, maybe not right now, but to rewatch the stream who are studying Japanese or might be interested.
Don't forget, guys, that it is totally worth giving the video a like if you're here. I think anyway. But. Yeah, so what I was saying,
I wanted to ask you, like, how's it going with studying Japanese? And I'm curious to hear what it's like for you. Or maybe why are you studying Japanese?
Why am I studying Japanese? I'm studying Japanese because I was looking for like an extra, like a hobby, something to do. And I didn't want to learn a language that was very similar to, I speak English and I speak Spanish, so I didn't want to sort of learn a language, a European language.
Right.
And I've always been interested in Japan. I traveled to Japan, so it was like the most logical sort of thing to do, was to learn Japanese. So
same thing for me when I started. Yeah.
I've been learning for a few years. But I think probably this year has been the year where I've started actually feeling as if I'm taking it a little bit more seriously.
Okay.
I have a full-time job. It's quite a demanding job, and it means that I don't really have the time to study. So I'm using the lockdown actually as an opportunity to learn Japanese.
Good idea.
And actually sit down. Well, in theory, right?
Same.
I'm not
Yeah,
watching
I should
Netflix.
be
When
doing
I'm
the
not
same.
watching Netflix.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
I've tried a few different things. I've tried worksheets, and I've tried different books. Like I've got Japanese for busy people. I have different textbooks, but I think that Mina no Nihongo has been the textbook that has for me fits in quite well for my style of learning.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said that because I want to talk about Mina no Nihongo. So, I don't know if you can see up here, but I have. I also have Mina no Nihongo.
Yeah. So you have
and
number 2 and number 3.
This is the 2.
Number 2.
So this is the one. Yeah, this is the one I used when I was studying in Tokyo. They gave us the Mina no Nihongo there.
I'm halfway through number 1.
Okay. And I did not like it.
You didn't like it?
No. Here's why. And I'm curious to hear your opinion on this. But like,
go for it.
Oh my, yeah. Like it has some illustrations, but it's. I don't know if that's visible on the stream or not. But
yeah, we can see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just full of text. It's very crowded. Oftentimes, I remember like running out of space because some people when they use a textbook, but then when they have to write something, they use a separate notebook. But I always write in a textbook, and I remember always
I'll show you.
running out of space.
I mean, I want to make a video about this because I think that everybody has their own way of studying, and mine is, I think, very strange. But I don't know if you can hear me. I'm gonna put the microphone down. But I've got the text, and I literally don't write anything. I don't write anything on the textbook.
Yeah.
However, what I do is I literally copy everything down.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't like this book.
On the other side, I'm very particular about my books also. It has to be lined paper on one side. Let me just change it so you can see me.
Oh my god.
It has to be
so particular.
It has to be lined paper on one side, and then it has to be blank paper on the other.
Okay, so interesting.
This side is lined, that's where I do my work, and then this side is blank. And what I do is I do all my work, and then when I don't understand something or a word, I write it in the blank next to
Interesting. Okay.
So then it basically means that when I have to review something or study something, I only really look at the white part.
Right.
I only look at the white part. I don't look at this part.
Okay.
This is the part that I didn't understand. So that's what I sort of study, and as you can see.
Right. No, for me it's always just been like I don't like working with 2 books at the same time, so I don't like using a separate notebook. Plus, I don't know about Mina no Nihongo, the one you have, but the one we have, to get a translation, an English translation, we needed like a separate book. So
I don't have the English translation, which
so now, yeah.
I know you can get the English translation. I think that lucky for me, I do have a Japanese tutor, and whatever I do with Mina no Nihongo, I then go over with her, which helps.
Yeah.
So she sort of corrects my problems. However, I think that my Japanese level has got to the point where I can read hiragana and katakana quite well, 90%, and it's taken quite a long time. I do read it quite slowly. However, before, I remember it used to take me an hour to read 2 lines. Now, I can I can read at an okay sort of pace, at least, right? So
that's good. Yeah.
And that means that now when I read something, because I can read at an okay pace, it means that I can pretty much keep a sentence in my brain, and then I can figure out what part of the sentence that I don't understand, and that's what I write on the other side.
Right. I wanted to ask you about the Mina no Nihongo 1. Like, what kind of topics are you learning? Like, what kind of... Because I linked you that other textbook a while ago, the Marugoto series. And that one is cool because at the beginner level, the stuff they teach you is the stuff that you would use when you, like, travel around Japan.
Okay.
Is that the same in Mina no Nihongo, or...?
I think to a certain extent it is. What I do like about Mina no Nihongo, in my experience, is that it progresses in a very logical way. As in, it always uses the same words, and then it adds to your word bank. It adds more new words, and it's constantly just adding another layer of difficulty to what you already know. I don't think it's specific topics, although the last topic, like there are topics like your family, like the typical thing.
That's standard, right? Yeah.
Standard, no?
Because the one I was talking about, the Marugoto series. Also. Yeah. The Marugoto series, like they even because I like that one because that's the first one I used, and for me it's what I needed because it kept my attention. Because it was colorful, it had illustrations, pictures, and it kind of like introduced Japanese culture, Japanese food, like tourist destinations and so on and so forth as you're studying a language. So for me, that was like the perfect way of starting up. And after I started studying Japanese in Switzerland first, then in Kobe, and then I went to Tokyo and got the Mina no Nihongo, I was like, oh my god, this is such dry material.
Bye, whoever. Thanks for being in the stream.
All right, bye-bye. Take care. I'll talk to you later on the phone. Yeah, so going from those books that I use for a long time that are very engaging and with illustrations and
but
relevant
topics. But I understand what you mean. It might not be the most engaging thing. I do understand what you mean. It's maybe not the most engaging thing in the world.
Yeah.
However, there are pictures and stuff. There are exercises with pictures.
So I'll show you this one, okay, as an example. So this is one I had at the language school here in Kyoto. Okay. I don't know if is that visible on the stream?
Yeah.
So it's called AI, right? 日本で学ぶ留学生のための中級日本語教科書. So this is for intermediate students who are studying in Japan. So this is relevant stuff for if you want to live and work in Japan. But if you look inside, let's see, find a good page. It's kind of like it has, it's like this. It has illustrations and it's just more fun to look at than Mina no Nihongo.
Yeah, I think that Mina no Nihongo, I think makes you use your imagination a lot because you'll have a few pictures and then you'll have some word exercises with missing parts that go with the pictures.
Right.
And there are times when it works really, really well. But now, for example, the latest piece of work that I'm doing, I think I'm just gonna skip it because I can't fill in the blanks to the picture because my imagination or my grasp of the language isn't good enough to be able to do that.
Right.
Now each chapter introduces you to maybe something new in grammar, maybe 10, 11 or 12 new vocabulary words, and builds on some of the other words and grammar things that you've learned in the past. So it's
right.
I think everybody has their own style of learning.
Yeah. I mean, Mina Nihongo is I'm not saying it doesn't, it's not efficient or anything like that. You'll learn Japanese from using that book for sure. It's good for doing that. For me, it's always just been I need more engaging stuff. But I don't know. Especially I'm surprised you like it so much because you're basically studying on your own. You have
I know, right?
A Japanese tutor, but you're not in a Japanese school. Or Japanese language school. So I'm surprised you're okay with that. Yeah, I couldn't do it. But again, like you said, everyone studies in their own way, right?
I know. It's
something happened to the audio.
Yeah, just my headphones are starting to run out, which might be a sign that we might need to end the stream.
Sure.
soon.
Yeah, we've been going for a while.
But
Yeah.
I think as long as
there
people
still
can
here?
hear
Still some
us and
people
it's not too as long as I can hear you and people can hear us, then we should be fine. If I can hear you, I can hear the thing. But yeah, I don't know. I think there are different things. I know that somebody recommended Genki. Have you ever used Genki?
I actually have some Genki here. I've only used Genki for kanji.
Alright, Genki kanji. I've been told it's good.
Yes. But from what I've heard, Genki in general, like the normal textbook, I think it's pretty good from what I've heard. We used a lot in our language school, so we used the one I showed you before, the Dei. Maybe I'll show them real quick, just in case people are interested. Then we also use this one, which is Chukyu Eiko, so this is for like pre-intermediate. Then we use the Chukyu kara Chokyu e no Nihongo, so this is like for getting from intermediate to like advanced. And then we also
I've been using kanji in Mangaland. Have you heard of that one?
No.
Let's see if I can find it. I'm just going to put you on your own whilst I go and find it.
Sure, yeah. And then we also use these like JLPT specific ones. So like they're called Tri. So Tri N3, we used Tri N2, and then the Tri N1 below.
Thanks for being in the stream. I'll be back now.
Okay. Yeah. So we use those, and actually, I don't know if people care about this, but like the Tri series is good because I like the way it's structured, and I'll try and show this on the stream, but like to give you an idea, basically every chapter starts with like a short text that introduces new grammar, and then the grammar that is introduced in the text will then be explained afterwards. So it's super easy to follow and understand, and you learn exactly the grammar you need to know for the JLPT level that is in the book. So I recommend these. They're pretty good, and you get the English translation with it as well. But I think for beginner students, I don't have the books here, they're back in Switzerland, but the Marugoto, if you Google Marugoto Nihongo, I think they're very, very good for beginner students. Are you okay?
Yeah, it was here from the very start. This book is quite fun, I think. Let's see if I can get some audio on my ear.
See you later, Asagi. Get in touch with Nathan so he can make you an OBS master.
This book is called Kanji in Mangaland. You see it?
Yes, yeah.
And it's pretty cool because it's basically you got all your sort of like kanji stuff.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But then each lesson will have a
manga with it. Oh, that's kind of cool.
That goes with the kanji.
I don't read manga at all. I don't read manga at all, but I think for studying, this is a really good idea. Like, I think I would like this.
Yeah, and I think there's different volumes also. That's volume 1. So there are different volumes.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. Like, because if you can associate the words with a story, that will help you so much to memorize it.
Jeremy's still here. This one, not Jeremy. Yeah, you know what, Jeremy? It's an interesting book because it's interesting that you say that you like it, and I understand why you like it. However, the thing that I'm gonna say flat out for anybody that's wanting to learn Japanese is you need to learn hiragana and katakana. You need to. And this book is pretty cool. However, it's a mixture of hiragana, katakana, and everything is in Romanji, like in English.
Right.
So everything is written out to pronunciate like you can when you read it.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
You know, I will say.
Yeah. that's I guess that's one recommendation I would give people, is that if you want to learn Japanese, just forget about romaji. Just learn the hiragana and katakana and go from there. Like, I always thought that reading romaji is so confusing.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's definitely, I would say, is something that I would say you need to get a book that works for you, but you need to put in the work of learning hiragana and katakana, and try to have things that have nothing in it. Although obviously you need to start at some point, you need to have something in English, or else like
sure of course, right, you need to start, of course. But also there's some really good apps to learn hiragana and katakana that have pictures that look similar to the letters, and you can memorize them that way.
I found a fantastic app, which I'm gonna say if I can find it. Where is it?
Is it Doctor something?
Hold on.
I remember using it in the day. Is it called Doctor something like?
I've just realized I have so many apps on here.
Do Japanese people use romaji at all? I'm guessing they do in Western ads and stuff. Let me think. I mean, as in if you mean like romaji for just like words in general, yeah, for sure, right? They don't really use it to explain a language, to translate stuff into Japanese. They always use katakana, right? But you have romaji, you have I mean, if you buy a chuhai, it will say strong zero, and that's written in Western letters, so in romaji basically. So you see it there. But when it comes to explaining the language or translating a foreign language into Japanese, they always use katakana, which is why Japanese people have the Japanese accent, because they learn English in katakana.
An app that I found also is called, I don't know if you heard of it, Tandem.
Oh, so that's like a language exchange app, right?
Sorry?
That's like a language exchange app, no?
Yeah, it's a language exchange app, and you basically pair up with someone, and then you can video chat with one another.
Oh,
I've done that once or twice. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
I'm trying to find the one that was for kanji, but I can't find it. It was pretty cool. The one for kanji. Because it was really, really good.
Speaking of kanji, maybe I can show this to the stream that I bought the other day. Some of my spring 2020 lockdown goals is to learn more kanji. I bought this huge box on Amazon. They sell it. It's from Japan, but they ship internationally, so they ship to all over the world. And it's Japanese kanji flashcards series 3 from Max Hodges and Tomoko Okazaki. And it's just a huge box with kanji flashcards. So this box contains 900 flashcards, and they're very well made. Because I'm very lazy, I don't want to write kanji, but they're just very, very well made kanji flashcards. So that's kind of cool.
And that saves you a lot of time, because one of the things is making your own flashcards. I like Anki also. Actually, the app is called, the one for the kanji is just simply called Kanji Teacher.
Okay, there you go.
And it's pretty cool because it goes through all the different readings of the kanji one by one. It tests you. It's pretty cool. Something just to have, if you're in the bus or if you're waiting for the bus.
Speaking of flashcards, I still have all my old in Japanese they say tango kado, which is the word cards. I still have all of those up here behind the books. It's a huge pile that I wrote by hand back in language school, but they're all disorganized. There's no order to them at all, which is why I decided to buy this box right here. But this is 900 kanji starting at number 400. So the first 300 kanji, the easier ones,
I'm probably closer to 100, closer to the 100 mark.
Yeah, but still So for you, the set for 1 to 300 would make sense. And I just got this a day ago or 2 days ago, so I haven't started yet. But it looks pretty good. It's very well made, and so maybe this is something for people who want to study Japanese. But if you can get something on another phone,
to be honest, there's a whole video here just on talking,
Sure.
like studying Japanese, and I wanna, like I said, I wanna make my own little video a little bit more like
I want to watch that
better
video.
thought out video on how I study Japanese, and maybe in the future you might want to come back onto the channel.
Hey, I'd love to.
This again.
I'd love to.
To be honest, whilst this lockdown is happening, I'm more than happy to chat with anyone, really. Why not?
Just let me know. I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah.
What time
But
is
yeah,
it
maybe-
there now?
Maybe it's time. It's time we get towards the end, right? So it's 20 past midnight here.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Still okay.
Yeah, I
but
think
yeah.
it's time. I think the views have gone down. I want to say that a big thanks to everybody that's stuck all the way from the beginning to now. That's 3 hours of your life listening to me and Nick. But it's been fun, and I also want to give a special thanks to Nick for taking his time to go out, photograph all the different parts of Kyoto, send me all the videos, and spend time chatting. It's been really cool. I hope you've enjoyed
thanks
it.
so much. Thanks so much for having me on. It's been a blast. Thank you all the people who tuned in. Very happy to have had like such interaction with the chat. It was really cool. Shout out to the awesome beers we had tonight.
Yeah. Well, tonight for me it's the middle of the afternoon. Now it's the perfect time for a siesta.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for having me on. Seriously, thanks so much. I mean, I haven't been active on YouTube in 3 years, so the fact that you even consider me on the channel is thanks so much.
Well, you are in Kyoto, and you've been living there for quite a few years, so it's a perfect person really to have on. But I think we're gonna sign out here, and I want to say thank you to everyone for viewing this video. And if you do have any questions afterwards, after watching this video, even if it's not live, I can always forward them to Nick, or I can try to answer them myself.
Anytime.
Hopefully, we'll have some more streams in the future. I want to make this sort of a common thing in my channel whilst the pandemic is going on. Anyway, whilst I can't travel. And I'm more than happy to have repeat people talking about all sorts of random things. It doesn't have to be Japan. It can be about anything. So if you have any sort of ideas for us, or who you want me to speak to, then reach out to them and they can maybe get in contact with me. So thanks, Nick.
Thank you so much. Can I do one last shout out?
Go for it.
Okay, just in case, check out my channel. I haven't uploaded in 3 years, but I have a big... well, not the big, but I have some Japan related videos on there. If you like Japan related stuff, check out those videos.
Definitely.
And maybe subscribe to my channel. I've been thinking about maybe doing some live streams too, and if I do, I will definitely invite Nathan here on the channel as well. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, thanks so much for having me on.
All the way from Panama watching us for 3 hours, something like that. That says a lot. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thanks so much for tuning in.
And definitely check out Nick's social media at Moments with Nick. Check out his YouTube channel. He does have some really cool content on there. And like everything, even though it might be a few years old, it's still interesting to watch. Maybe on dating, how do they do it in Japan? Actually, we wanted to... That's a whole other thing. We can maybe
that's next stream. That's topic for another stream.
But we were going to talk about making friends with Japanese people and stuff. We never got around to that, so maybe we can keep that for another time. But
we'll save it
once again, thank you very much to everyone, and stay safe and all that kind of thing.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.